Hello, hello. It's Richard Lewis here on Thanksgiving Day, and I can say that obviously, British people we don't celebrate that. You know, it's my first actual time being in America, experiencing Thanksgiving, and I've chosen to not do any of the weird stuff that people are suggesting. There's this thing called Friendsgiving. We all like a bit of Friendsgiving, apparently. And I have no idea what a Friendsgiving is, but it sounds incredibly tragic. Just a group of people gathering together because they don't have any family to hang out with. Some sort of acceptance of codependency. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just get on with work and carry on as normal. And that's why I'm going to do this show today. And obviously, I'm just joking around. If you're doing a Friendsgiving, that's perfectly fine. But, there's a lot to talk about because obviously we had all the Reddit stuff jump off last night. We've got lots of interesting news, including proof that the British government are prudes, which we're going to get into right now. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think this will be a good Thanksgiving show. This might be closer to an I Hate It Here than a lot of I Hate It Heres that we do. So hopefully you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Certainly spread the word on social media. But let's get into it. Let's get right into what's going on in the world today, and let's try and provide that sane alternative. So this is the first piece of news that I want to start with, just in our random bits before we get to the Reddit gibberish that occurred last night. This is The Guardian. The Guardian wrote an opinion piece saying that the tears of joy emoji is somehow inherently evil. It's the worst of all the emojis. They have a scale of emojis. I want you to let that sink in. They rate emojis from good to bad, these people. You can see the tears of joy emoji is the worst because it's used to gloat about human suffering. It's used to gloat about human suffering, and therefore it is the most evil of emojis. And you can see here, she calls it the obnoxious, chortling little yellow dickhead, with bulbous cartoonish tears streaming down its face. And it's taken over social media in recent months, apparently. Now, it gets interesting at this juncture because she says the frog face has been suggested as being the worst emoji. Who are these people that are sat around discussing, what is the worst emoji and what is the best emoji? Because obviously they've recently politicized emojis. You'll notice, of course, they've brought in, they've answered cries for more Islamic representation in emojis and that kind of thing, which is fine. Don't have an issue with that whatsoever. But again, these are emojis. I don't really think it's a big political victory. I don't think it's a big deal to need emojis to be good or bad. They're just expressions of emotion. Hence why they're called emojis. Anyway, you can see that some people have suggested the frog face is the worst emoji because of its recent association with the so-called alt-right, who are neo-Nazi nerds, apparently. And they adopted it as a mascot after the Southern Poverty Law Center. Once again, you'll notice this political organization cropping up in our news. And they declared the Pepe meme to be a symbol of hate. She's obviously ignoring that the Anti-Defamation League did the exact same under pressure from the Clinton campaign to do so because Donald Trump had tweeted it. That was their idea of playing nicely in the political sandpit. And you can see, while it's true that this new fascist connection has irreparably tainted the previously innocent amphibian character, it's still not as intrinsically offensive as the crying laughter or tears of joy face that is the subject of my ire. She talks a little bit about emojis, but basically we get back here. There's I'll just come out of this a second. There's a checklist these days, ladies and gentlemen, a checklist. If you're writing news for a mainstream publication, there is a checklist of things you must absolutely shoehorn in to every article. And you can see she's going through them. So this is what you have to shoehorn in. You must mention the alt-right. You must mention the alt-right. We must pretend that that is a real thing. Let me tell you. Here's what you have. You have neoconservatives, young conservatives, who are obviously now internet savvy. They're very different to young conservatives of previous generations. And then you just have, very strong right-wing National Front neo-Nazis. And because of the internet, we've all come together and there's some overlapping ideas. But the alt-right, the people who are self-identifying as the alt-right, to me, need to be very mindful of the fact that there's a group of neo-Nazis out there doing the same, because it's a much more palatable label, isn't it? If I had to ask you, how do you define yourself politically? You would say, I'm an alt, let's say you were a neo-Nazi, okay? Let's say you genuinely believed in the tenets of Hitler's Germany. Would you want to say publicly, I'm a Nazi? Or would you prefer instead to say that you're an alt-right person and hope that, it just, alt-right, so nice and fluffy and cuddly and, chocolatey, alt-right, neo-Nazi nerds. So, obviously, the first thing on the checklist is mention the alt-right. You must mention the alt-right, okay? You must mention the alt-right. The other thing you must absolutely do, of course, on the checklist is you must mention hate crimes. You must mention hate crimes and the rise of hate crimes, which she goes on to do here. I don't see how this is linked to the emoji, but I'm sure she's going to tell me all about it. But you can see here the rise of hate, reports of a rise in hate crime in the immediate aftermath of the Brexit vote, particularly horrendous benefit sanction cases, Trump's threats to create a register of Muslims living in the US to deport millions of primary Latino US residents. So there's the other part of the checklist. You must talk about the rise of hate crime. Now, keep in mind, these are reports of a rise in hate crime issued by people saying there's been a rise in reports of hate crime. We've already seen the evidentiary, the requirement for them to be reported by these outlets like the Southern Poverty Law Center are very low. It's Facebook posts. We're not even necessarily going off police reports at this time. So you've got to mention that. You've got to pretend there's been a rise in hate crime. I'm going to come to some genuine hate crimes which won't be reported by the mainstream media. I think I've got 3 of them lined up, okay? I went out, did some digging this morning, and lined it all up for the show. Is my mic a bit loud? That's weird. I didn't adapt it for yesterday. I might just be shouting. I might just be angry on Thanksgiving. But okay. We can turn it down a notch. That should be better. So the rise in hate crime, which again, I strongly oppose as an idea. I don't believe it's true. I see a rise in reports, but I also see a rise in gibbering, frenzied hysteria. So anyway, she goes on basically, and we'll move on from this because it's just a short piece, and I'm already going off on tangents. But you can see that she basically says that, because of all these terrible things that are happening in the world, this emoji is particularly offensive because it enables people to laugh in the face of people experiencing genuine, distressing events. And of course, ridiculous. Now, also, and I actually found this fascinating, just while we're on the topic of The Guardian, I actually found this fascinating. I didn't necessarily even think this was bad by The Guardian to report it, but I thought this was pretty fascinating. How The Walking Dead got Donald Trump elected. And this is taking basically the bare bones of an interview that happened over at Forbes. And you can see here, there's a link to the interview with Jared Kushner. And this is Trump's super smooth son-in-law, as he's described. And what Kushner did was he deployed TV advertising specifically on The Walking Dead. This is actually fascinating. Seriously, you're going to love this, guys. So he deliberately took Trump adverts and put them in the ad section of AMC's The Walking Dead on the basis that obviously people who were being attacked by marauding monsters and zombies may be sympathetic to the idea of building a wall. Isn't that incredible? And Yeah, and obviously, I mean, I'm not saying that this worked, but I think it's an interesting idea. I've talked about this a lot before. In regards to product placement, and we're now starting to see, I think, political placement in a lot of ways in a lot of broadcasters. So this is actually quite fascinating. I thought that this was a thing. Of course, the Guardian goes with the lurid headline and has to end on just a note that we should put some zombies in the White House as well. And it's the Guardian, obviously. So, and again, it's that checklist. Let's get Trump in there. So, let's talk about hate crime and discrimination. Let's start moving into it, because these aren't going to get picked up by the mainstream media, folks. These will not get picked up by the mainstream media. You have to look at specific outlets to even find this, specific subreddits, specific people who tweet. You have to know to go to these publications in the first place and check their headlines. And obviously, we know there's a big pushback against fake fucking news. But these aren't necessarily fake publications. This is all legitimate. You've just got to know where to look. So this is just a gentle one to start us off, going down the rabbit hole. This is the news that a business, yet another business. Let's think about what happened with obviously Grubhub telling its employees, if you support Trump, get the fuck out. But you can see here, this is an SEO company, first in SEO, and Matthew Blanchfield, the owner or the runner of the company, has said in a blog post, if you are Republican and voted for Donald Trump, or you support Donald Trump in any manner, you are not welcome at first in SEO, and we ask you to leave our firm. And this is that, again, we don't want people working for us that support Trump. And on top of that, they're even removing, they're even not serving businesses if they can prove that they serve Donald Trump. And you can see here he did an interview where he said he has a moral obligation to stand up for what he believes in. And he says he wants to fight against injustice. The democratic election, that is a huge injustice. And he says here, it is my firm belief that we elected a fascist as our next president. Absolutely nothing to substantiate this whatsoever. I think this chap needs some lessons. Perhaps he can Google fascism and see what comes up first. But this is absolutely insane, and this is the sign of the times. That people are saying, the expense financially to me is immaterial. Morality, justice, and doing what's correct far supersedes financial gain. Well, I agree with that, but what you have to understand is this is misplaced. You are laboring under a delusion. You are being fooled by media coverage that somehow Trump is analogous to Hitler. It's absolutely not true. There's no evidence to substantiate this. And what you are doing is actually discriminating against people based on their political beliefs, which I would argue is unconstitutional. You may have that right as a private business. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this could go to court, and I imagine he might have to issue a groveling apology. I'm going to try and follow this story, and we'll see if that occurs. Now, let's get to some hate crimes. Hate crimes. Actual hate crimes. Remember how there's been a rise in hate crimes, folks? An actual legitimate rise. So this is the New York Post. I wonder if this will be included in the rise of hate crimes. This is reported yesterday. A bus driver watched white schoolgirls, 15-year-old Catholic schoolgirls, who were basically outside just talking and waiting for their usual bus ride home. And they were attacked by a young black man and who screamed, "White girl got money. White girl got money." So immediately, anybody who says, well, this might just be a crime of opportunity, I agree. That would be my initial impression. If we are to take witness statements to be believed, which again, definitely take them with a liberal pinch of salt, obviously. But you can see that race was brought to the table. And race was brought to the table. So, I mean, this is a racially motivated crime. Now, I know, obviously, remember, MTV and all of these ridiculous liberal outlets, you can't be racist to white people. So I guess we should just ignore this, okay? No problem. But you can see they did an interview here with the New York Post, and there's pictures of the wounds here. I'm sure they'll heal. Doesn't look to be a particularly savage attack, but that's not really the point. And you can see again that the young men threatened to piss on them and said, oh, you go to St. Catherine's. Do you have money? Go drink your coffee, white girl, and go shopping. And then it was a group of girls also came out, and they suspected they were with these black males, and they had a fight. And as it's described, all hell broke loose. And the bus driver did nothing. The bus driver, obviously, I don't necessarily blame the bus driver. I think when you, I think when you are in a position where intervention can be deemed illegal. I've had this situation happen to me. I'll tell you a story now, just to go off on one of my famous tangents. But I remember in Birmingham, I was out, and I'd been having a drink with a legendary figure, who has ties to, you know, highest levels of boxing and some of London's organised crime. I was particularly pleased that it was a chance meeting in Birmingham, and I won't cite the name, but he was a legend. And we were having a drink, and it was a bit raucous. And we were leaving this place. We'd been there all night, and there was a fight outside of this bar we'd been in. Now, it wasn't a conventional fight, because this was a man literally holding a woman by the hair and uppercutting her in the face. It's one of the most brutal attacks I've ever seen. It was really bad. She had blood. It was so, and there was just a large group of drunk revelers just kind of watching it, right? So I was like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna stop this. I'm not gonna be the guy to walk on by." Now, I certainly didn't attack the chap. I pushed my way between them. I had my hands up the entire time, saying, "Look, mate, fucking leave it. Go, fuck off. Go down that street." I got my hands up because, you know, I'm not wanting to get into a fight because I want to talk some more with this dude who I'm hanging out with, who's a really cool guy. And the guy starts coming into my, you know, spatial area, and I pushed him and said, "Get out. That's too close. Fuck off." And the guy has, at that juncture, started, you know, fucking trying to swing at me. He's drunk. I can still bob and weave. And obviously, the scene with the woman being attacked was caught on CCTV, right? So the police turn up, and they turn up with dogs. And I'm like, okay, cool, this guy's about to get fucked. So the police are screaming, stop right there, don't move, get down on the ground, or we'll put the dogs on you. I'm like, ha ha ha, I can't wait to see this, right? So me and this guy, we just sat there watching. And the next thing I know, one of the dogs is biting me on my leg. Well, hang on a minute. That's a bit sore. What the fuck's going on? And they're shouting at me, get down on the floor. Okay, right. Well, legs a bit fucked up now, right? All right, but you got the wrong guy. He was the guy who was uppercutting the woman in the face. That's the guy over there. And they're going, no, you attacked him. Nah, didn't happen. Anyway, the woman's run off by this point. I don't even know where she is. So I've got a dog on me, and growling while I'm on the ground, you know, because they pretend they control those dogs, but let me tell you, the dog pretty much does what it wants. Right? So they come up, handcuffs on, I'm explaining. Yo, dude, listen, you got the wrong guy. He's the one uppercutting the woman in the face. I'm having a drink with a boxing coach. Come the fuck on, like. And they're like, no, we got him as well, but what you did is an assault. And I was like, no, I just got between them. I just stopped him. I stopped him attacking a woman. Like, how's this thing? So this boxing coach, he's just fucking, that's it. Never seen him again, by the way. I think he's dead now, right? So that was my night with that guy fucked up. And I get taken down to the police station in Birmingham, quite a famous one. It's an old jail. And I'm put in there, and I'm held until the duty solicitor can turn up, because obviously I'm not going to cop to anything. And they literally were so adamant that what I'd done was wrong and evil. They put me in a room. They were showing me CCTV footage. I wound this police officer right up because he came out and he was going, "That's you on that footage there, isn't it?" And they're playing me the video back in the little interview room, and I'm going, "Nah, that ain't me, mate." He's going, "It's wearing the same clothes you've got on." I said, That's your assumption. I mean, it's a very popular style of attire. It could be anybody on that CCTV footage. It's got the same bald spot, mate, that you've got. I said, male pattern baldness. It's genetic. Loads of men have male pattern baldness. I think you're really labouring here to tie it to me. And this police officer's getting fucking really wound up. I mean, just a word of advice, by the way. Never talk to the police, obviously, until your solicitor's there. Just never talk to them, never admit anything. Because here's the thing, I'm not even saying not to cooperate with the police. It can only hurt you. It can only hurt you. Get the solicitor in there and just basically never give them anything. Because obviously everything you say can be used in evidence. So wait until your solicitor turns up. So I probably shouldn't have done this, but fuck it, I was bored. And the cell was boring and they give you that little dinner. So I went out there and I'm like, nah, it's not me, mate. It's not me. Massive didn't happen, right? And the guy bangs on the desk and goes, "You're fucking guilty." And I said to him, I said, "Look, mate, I don't really like you throwing that word around because it's not your job to assign guilt. It's your job to gather evidence. And so far, you've done a really poor job of that." I thought this police officer was going to shit a brick. So then what they did was, right, to fuck with me psychologically, they sent in a female police officer because they thought I was like some bleeding heart white knight, right? And that's why I'd stopped this fight. So the female police officer comes in and starts saying, "I understand why you did it. I understand why you did it." I'm like, "Did what?" "I understand why you stopped that guy hitting that woman. You know, and I just want to say thank you." Right? So now they're trying this. And I'm like, "God, I didn't hit him." So I've been fucked, right? Immediately. And then take my statement, right? I have to go three months on bail for that, for intervening to stop a woman being assaulted. So, long story, and this is about 10 years ago now. But anyway, so long story short, you don't ever intervene. And it's worse if you're in a job. Because if you intervene, like if this bus driver got involved in the fight, you know, if you intervene in the fight and something happens, you can just get fired. You can just lose your job. It was very difficult for me. I couldn't leave the country. I had a job where I needed to travel, and I couldn't leave the country because I was on bail. I wasn't allowed to leave for 3 months, so I got fucked. So bottom line is, don't blame people for not intervening. The system that we put in place legally has set it up so you don't. Intervention is considered bad. It displays independent thought. You're not waiting for the law to deal with things. So there you go. Anyway, back to there you go. And somebody in the chat says, "I used to work on the buses. They are legally not allowed to get involved with fights. Legally." So there you go. So don't blame the bus driver. But anyway, back to the point. This is a hate crime. This is a hate crime. Hang on, someone's just messaging me here. On air. There we are. So yeah, this is a hate crime, but I don't think you're going to see this reported anywhere because of, apart from the New York Post, which is deemed to be a dubious publication, of course. Let's see then. So this rise of hate crimes that are only happening to minorities because of Trump. Here's another one. Daily News, also in New York. A man in Queens tried to push a strap hanger onto the subway tracks, yelling, "I hate white people." So this is just a short report. You can see here, this is the thing. And he tried to push the individual onto the tracks and then began yelling about his hatred of white people. He spit on a police officer and got charged with attempted murder, aggravated harassment, and obstruction of government administration. Why isn't this a big deal? I hate whites. I hate white people. I'm gonna try and murder somebody because I hate whites. Now, again, this is a hate crime. By every legal definition of what we call a hate crime, this is a hate crime, right? So, turns out, not a big deal. Mainstream media don't care about that. They don't care that these hate crimes are happening right under their nose because, obviously, it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't suit the narrative. Let's go to Alabama. Okay, let's have a look down there. What's happening down there, right? All sorts of crazy shit, obviously, but let's have a look at this. Pair charge an explosive device at elementary school. Hang on, we'll get rid of that. Pair charged an explosive device at elementary school, planned to shoot police and start race war. And we've already seen the tweets. I'm down for a motherfucking race war, obviously. Not a lot of white people outside of those neo-Nazi lunatics talking about race war. You can see a convicted felon, it's already a convicted felon, claimed he wanted to shoot cops, and finally has gone behind bars. They wanted to put an explosive device outside of a school. An explosive device outside of a school. And they finally managed to get arrest warrants for these two people who were doing it, and you can see that the person arrested claimed to be a member of the Black Panthers and the Black Mafia, although they haven't confirmed his associations with these groups. And let's take it with a liberal pinch of salt, in the same way that that fucking guy, the piece of shit who shot up the Orlando gay club, at the last minute decided to pledge his allegiance to ISIS. I think we can probably assume that this chap hasn't really had any connection with these organizations, but just identifies with them ideologically. So this is a very, this is a dangerous man. This is a dangerous pair of people who were literally trying to spark a race war by putting a bomb outside of a school. Now, again, I just want to say, why isn't this mainstream news? Can you imagine? Right, we're still talking about the Trump supporter that shot two police officers, right? And the evidence from being a Trump supporter and the crime being politically motivated is that he had a Trump sign on his lawn. That's it. No, he never said it was political. You couldn't find any messages of him saying he was pro-Trump or that he wanted to kill police to support Trump or anything like that. But that story actually just ran through the media for a long time. We're still talking about it now. This, not so much. Not talking about this. And this is a bomb outside of a school to spark a race war. Why isn't this all over the news? I don't know. That seems to me like a big deal. So, crazy shit. So there you go. There's the rise of hate crimes that we're seeing towards white people. It's almost as if this divide in America wasn't just one way. It wasn't just angry white folk wanting to attack black people. It's running both ways, and both are contemptible. So, and the problem you've got is, unfortunately, a lot of these crimes like this, the media feeds the excuses that people need. The media feeds the excuses that people need to use this kind of stuff. Because let's have a look over at our favorite publication, the good old HuffPo. It's showing us black here. But anyway, you can see the actress, Kim Davis, who you might know from Sex and the City, if you ever watched that show. This isn't actually a very good display. I apologize about that. I don't know why that's not displaying properly. But basically, in an interview, just to give you the gist, she actually said she was fearful of a Trump presidency because she has a black daughter she needs to protect, and she's going to buy a gun. She's going to arm herself. So this is a liberal saying that she needs to protect herself and her black daughter because of Trump, because Trump, and is going to buy a weapon. This is insane. This is the kind of lunatic thinking that if a right-wing Republican, conservative, or even just somebody who would be cruelly dubbed a redneck by the mainstream media, if they were going to buy, oh, hang on, there we go. No, wrong button. Production value, folks. If they were going to buy a gun to protect themselves from a Clinton presidency, they would be rightly castigated as insane. So, again, celebrities feed into this. They feed into this nonsense. Not to worry, though. The media's got your back. The media knows what's good. The Independent has published an opinion piece here. President Obama should pardon Hillary Clinton as his last act, because it would actually do Donald Trump a huge favor. So the premise of this article is that Hillary Clinton should be granted a pardon for all of her crimes that she may or may not have committed. I mean, the idea of granting someone a pardon if they haven't committed crimes seems somewhat absurd. But yes, she should be granted a full pardon. And look, even President-elect Trump agrees that America's been through a difficult year. So all agree. So we're agreeing with Trump now when it suits. When it suits our agenda, we'll agree with everything Trump says. The time has come to bind the nation's wounds. Well, we know one way to bind one of those wounds. A pardon for Hillary Clinton. Does anyone want a pardon for Hillary Clinton? Does any of the American people really want that? I mean, do even the Democrats want that? Like, if while as Secretary of State, she has committed illegal acts, don't you want a full investigation? Don't you want your elected officials to be held accountable? That's what I want. That's what I want in my elected officials. I want full accountability. If you have been negligent in handling private information that has led to people being murdered, I want to know that those elected officials are going to be held accountable for that to the fullest extent of the law. That's what I want. I don't think anybody wants a pardon for Hillary Clinton. But still, the leftist media, now what they're trying to do is they're trying to appeal to Trump voters. You can see they're trying to appeal to people who support Trump to support the idea of a Clinton pardon. And the premise is that it would do Trump a favor because obviously he said that line when he said, "You'll be in jail." And now people are considering it a betrayal of trust that he hasn't gone ahead and got a special prosecutor to pursue this. Now, again, I think this is almost like a false flag operation. This is a way to sow dissent among the right and among Trump supporters by making it look like Trump has already broken an elected promise. Let me tell you, the political system, it doesn't like putting elected officials in jail, does it? It doesn't like holding them accountable for the things they do. So this is absolute fucking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You know, we like our elected officials to be able to walk when they do bad things. So don't worry. The media's got you covered, fam. The media knows what you want. And you want Hillary Clinton to walk for any crimes she may have committed. Just to get back to the fake news thing, thought this was interesting. You can see here, NBC News basically put out misleading tweets. You can see here that the chief of staff for the Trump camp did a meet the press, and this is Reince Priebus, who a name I can never pronounce. It's insane. And you can see the exchange was, can you equivocally rule out a registry for Muslims? And he said, I'm not going to rule out anything, but we are not going to have a registry based on religion, which is a fairly emphatic answer. This is a fairly emphatic answer. So, NBC News put out the tweet, can you rule out a registry of Muslims? I'm not going to rule out anything. I would probably report on this bit. In a tweet, this is what I would put out first. This is the most important bit. Not rule out anything. And you can see again, they did it here. I'm not going to rule out anything when asked about a possible Muslim registry. This is misleading. Anybody who saw those tweets would feed into the hysteria. This is irresponsible reporting. And this is, of course, another example of media fake news. You know, they're putting out, they're making something look like it is. Let's say you're one of the people who only take your news from social media, and there's plenty of them. Let's say that's you. If you looked at those tweets, you would honestly think that the registry for Muslims is coming because he's been evasive of answering the question. So there you have it. Absolutely ridiculous. Has to suit the narrative, doesn't it? Nobody, and again, they say they're being held accountable, but they're not really being held accountable. I mean, that's just something they'll get away with. We don't hold the mainstream media accountable when they do bad things, because why would we? Why would we? And with that in mind, let me draw attention to this. Also, this should be a major national news story. This is huge, in my humble opinion. And once again, we have to rely on the fucking Daily Mail to report it. This is the only mainstream publication really to pick this up. This is an editor of Politico, has had to resign because he called for baseball bat attacks on a white supremacist leader. That's the Richard Spencer we talked about on yesterday's show. And he actually posted his address on Facebook. This is completely reprehensible behavior. Now, I obviously ripped Richard Spencer a new one yesterday. I think he's ridiculous. I think he's, going to give the mainstream media so much ammunition to fire at legitimate people. But you can see, this is an editor of Politico. And he is calling for violence against people he disagrees with. He did it on Facebook, you can see here. Stop whining about Richard B. Spencer, who is a Nazi, and exercise your rights as decent Americans. Here are his 2 addresses. So he didn't just give one address. He didn't just give a work address. He didn't give a postal address. He gave his home addresses, both of them. He also followed up on Twitter. He said, I think it's good that neo-Nazi Richard Spencer is moving to Washington. It's important we know where he lives. Well, what are the reasons? And you can see on Facebook, people said, look, I completely agree we should mobilize against these hateful ideas, which is absolutely right. But what does knowing his home address do? What are we going to do? Send a letter? Confront him in person? It seems like counter-speech is the main thing we can do, which is exactly right. This is what freedom of speech is for. You can call it whining, but I'm not sure that's fair or constructive. Side note, apparently the GSA Ronald Reagan International Trade Center in D.C. felt obligated to host this organization's event because it can't discriminate against speech under the First Amendment. Right? And Michael Hirsch says, I wasn't thinking of a fucking letter, Doug. He lives part of the time next door to me in Arlington. Our grandfathers brought baseball bats to Bund meetings. Want to join me? So he is literally advocating for violence against people who disagree with his political output. Now, I got to say, and just in case you don't know, as explained here, Bund refers to American Nazis who were attacked by a Jewish mob in the 1930s. So let's be clear here. This is prosecutable. This is an inciting violence. Remember how Breitbart was inciting violence? No evidence required, okay? No evidence required when it's Breitbart. We had that App Nexus pull their ads from Breitbart on the grounds they violated hate speech. Is that going to happen to Politico? Because this is a clear example. This is an editor of the publication calling for physical violence. Are they going to be de-incentivized? Are they going to suffer financial penalties and sanctions? The answer is, of course, no. The system is rigged. It only goes one way. And I will be able to prove this time and time and time again until it changes. And you can say, Richard, you're just a lunatic, you're biased. This is bias. This is what bias looks like. I am simply pointing out the bias. Where is the connection? When are people going to come out and distance themselves from Politico? Not going to happen. Breitbart, though, yeah, that's a sewer of reactionary, inflammatory hatred. Got any proof? Nah, don't need that. Don't need that. Oh, I got proof about Politico. Ah, well, yeah, it was his private Facebook. It was his private Twitter. Yeah, but you use Milo's private Twitter as the example for why Breitbart's a sewer. No, and again, this is how it goes, right? This is the debate. This is the fucking childish debate that we always have to engage in, always have to go through when talking about the bias towards leftists. And it's there. I hope you can see this. I hope you realize this isn't me just pulling, cherry-picking examples. That's a clear, that's a clear example. It's not even up for discussion. Right, let's get back to it. What's the next one? Oh, speaking of just stupid leftists, I enjoy this. I like this one when I found it. I'm going to play you a YouTube video here. And I'm not going to play the full thing because it's insufferable. Apologies if this is loud. Let me see. Yes, buttons have been deployed. This is Norwegian leftists protesting against the office at the integration minister. Just watch what they're doing. Yep. This is what a protest looks like if you're leftist. Right, that's enough of that. Okay, so they were doing that, first of all, to protest some of the things that this individual had said in regards to integration. Of course, I think I covered this on another video. I won't get back into it. But she had also said they're just whining. So to show that they're not whining, they went and did that. They went and had a whine. So, pretty cool, right? Did enjoy that. And Norway's a great country. I fucking love Norway. How disappointed was I that was a thing? Very disappointed is the answer. Very disappointed. Right, let's get it into Britain. Shit, I gotta go back to that button now. It's gonna start again. Oh god. Right. There it is. No. Right, okay. Should have paused that. Right, so let's get over to Britain. This is the news that the UK is to censor online videos of non-conventional sex acts. Non-conventional sex acts. What is a non-conventional sex act? It's very interesting because there's no broad definition. There's no broad definition as to what a non-conventional sex act is. So, obviously, this is just so prudish and pathetic. It's, ridiculous. But you can see here, obviously, a lot of free speech advocates. This is Jodie Ginsburg, who is the chief executive of the Index on Censorship, and says it should not be the business of the government to regulate what kinds of consensual adult sex can be viewed by adults, which, of course, I absolutely agree with. And you can see that videos that show spanking, whipping, or caning that leaves marks, sex acts involving urination, or golden showers to you or me, female ejaculation, which is commonly known as squirting, or of course it's just secretly pissing anyway, or menstruation, as well as sex in public, are likely to be caught by the ban. So this is now taking us back to what sex we could view pre-internet, where all of those things, you couldn't buy them in magazines. So if you want to see a woman urinate on a man, for whatever reason, you can't do it anymore. That is now non-conventional sex. Now, obviously, the BBFC, who are going to enforce this, have not provided a definitive list of sexual acts. Because, you see, if you provide a definitive list of sexual acts, you then obviously that gives you the get out clause. You know, you might have pissing and shitting and everything, fisting and whatever else on there. But then the one thing that isn't on there, that's, you know, hey, I'm innocent, Your Honor. You know, he never said anything about a donkey show, so I get away with it. So they won't provide a definitive list. You will not get this definitive list. And let me tell you, every sex act I've ever had has probably been unconventional. It's certainly not like in the movies, watching my overweight, hulking body grunting and sweating, glistening in the dark. There's nothing conventional about that. But so I suppose I myself now a walking illegal sex act waiting to happen. I don't even know. I guess I'm not going to have to go back to the UK because I find this absolutely absurd. You know. And this is a good point. This is Professor Claire McGlynn, who is an expert on pornography laws at Durham University. Yes, you're all triggered by that image. My gift to you on Thanksgiving. But you can see what she says. It's mad that we regulate such material when they're not criminal acts. Shit, I'll come at this bit just above it in a bit. But she's right. These aren't illegal. If you come in my home and I say, "Hey, can I piss on you?" and you go, "Yeah," you know, it's a bit messy, but you know, no laws have been broken. Now watching that legal act is now illegal, which makes me wonder how long before it comes into your home. how long before this law comes into your home and we have people on bedtime patrol? What are you doing? Ooh, how are you getting your jollies? How are you getting your jollies? And she points out that, if we're regulating things like menstrual blood or urination, we're detracting from a focus on what I think is really harmful material, and that would be material around child sex abuse and also sexual violence, which, according to many studies, this is absolutely true. Younger people that are exposed to pornography, that we have a violent bent, it does create them more likely to be violent in later life. It's very damaging. One of the things that a lot of child protective services look out for now in Britain is exposure to porn. This is considered a type of harm. They've got a term for it. I always forget if it's called the fifth harm or something. Anyway, whatever. Because it's outside of the remit of the usual ones, which is like sexual abuse, violence, emotional abuse, and maltreatment domestically. Anyway, this is the thing that I thought was also brilliant. The censorship regime has led to bizarre understandings between the producers and regulators, Barnett said. One is the four-finger rule. So now there is a limitation when producing porn for UK consumption on the number of digits that can be inserted into an orifice for sexual stimulation. This is how insane it's got. This is how insane it's got. Because if you go beyond four fingers, what's more than four fingers? It's a fist. It's a fist. And if it's a fist, it's now illegal. You can't watch it in Britain. Is anyone disturbed by this? Anyone who lives in the UK, are you guys genuinely disturbed by it? I'm genuinely disturbed by this. This is a ridiculous overreach by the government to tell us what we can and can't watch. And none of these acts are illegal. None of these acts are illegal. They are. You cannot watch videos of things you can legally do in your house with your partner. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking insane? Yeah. You can see people in the chat typing, remove your thumb. Get that thumb out! Get that thumb out! That's how ridiculous it is. It's a shame Sam's not here for this show. Sam would have loved this. Right. But, what I, on a serious note, porn aside, we really got to take a long look at what's happening in Britain. And Britain is becoming a snooper's paradise. This is really worrying. Because that we're passing these acts, and I think because it's Britain and everyone's Brexit. I love Brexit. Everyone's writing about that. They're not writing about things like this, which is very important. This is the Snoopers Charter. There's an ad. Snoopers Charter, UK's most passed privacy invasive law, passed by Parliament, and this happened just this month, and nobody cared. This is the IP bill. And what it does, it puts into statute the powers and capabilities, which was revealed by Edward Snowden. So basically all of the stuff that was going on, invading people's webcams and looking at the messages they send, the emails they send, all the things that the government's been doing anyway illegally, the IP bill has now put this into statute that they can do it. And it's also going to increase surveillance by the police and other government departments. They can now just surveil you in your home without your knowledge, obviously consent, but and I don't even think you're entitled to a copy of this type of surveillance, which is a complete contradiction of the data protection law in the UK. There will continue to be a lack of privacy protections for international data sharing arrangements with the US. Parliament has also failed to address the implications of the technical integration of the GCHQ and the NSA. So if you're a UK citizen, you may not be able to get information from certain outlets, people who handle your data, unless they're based in the UK. They continue to allow US companies special rules. And this is quite a long article. It's a great it's a great breakdown. I strongly recommend you read this. It's over at Tom's Hardware, which is a tech website. And it talks about, how the IP bill requires companies to decrypt encrypted conversations if it's technically possible for them to do so. So again, you have taken your due diligence. You're talking about something sensitive and private with somebody. You have taken the steps to encrypt it. If it can be, to encrypt it. If it can be decrypted by your ISP, they're now legally obliged to do that if the government wants to see it. Doesn't matter what it's about. If the government wants to see it, the ISP must comply. So decryption on demand. Browsing activity is now recorded automatically by ISPs. So this is now every site you visit in Britain, it's compiled. It doesn't matter what it is. And obviously, they used to do this with libraries. I don't know if you guys know this, because obviously the library is a bit anachronistic now. Not a lot of people use the library. Libraries are dying on their ass. They're genuinely considered to be used by people who don't have internet access. And actually, one of the primary functions of a library in any small community now is to provide internet access and guidance on how to use computers and learning courses and that kind of thing, rather than borrowing books. So the libraries, what they used to do in America and possibly in Britain too, I'm hard pressed to think of an example of it being used in a court case, but if you withdrew certain books from the library, it would be flagged, and they would keep a record of it, and then you would be on a list, and this list would be to make sure you weren't a reactionary. So let's say, for example, if you took out books by Kropotkin, Marx, and coupled that with a engineering book on how to make explosives, you're fucked. I mean, you're on a list, and they're going to be monitoring everything you do and everything you say, and this would be all done clandestine. You never knew about it. And now this is happening to your browsing history. I'll tell you another story. I'll tell you another story about, again, another brush with the law when I was young. This is very young, though. You guys may remember something called the Anarchist's Cookbook or the Jolly Roger Cookbook. And this was a series of documents produced online, made freely available. And it was how to make explosives, how to hack phones, and a lot of them were American based. I didn't really. A lot of it was useless to the UK people because of different phone systems, different electronic systems, different ways to defraud mail companies. But it was how to commit mail fraud, all of this stuff. So there was this. This was like the hottest thing to have when I was a teenager. If you had the Jolly Roger Cookbook and you knew how to make fertilizer bombs, you were like super cool. Now, this is crazy because obviously this day and age, if you had this information, you're going to jail. But back then, everybody wanted to have the Jolly Roger Cookbook. I had the disc on for my Amiga computer, and we used to regularly get these things called doc discs. Doc discs were, compilations of documents on how to crack game copy protection, so you could pirate games, and other documents that were deemed, illegal, how to make bombs and this kind of thing. And I made a fortune. I used to sell this. I used to sell this at school. I used to make, 10, 20 copies of the disc, and I used to go in and sell it to kids. And if kids couldn't afford to buy the disc itself or didn't have an Amiga computer, I used to print it out and sell it to them. I made a fortune. Now, what I've done there is I have distributed terrorist material. I mean, seriously, that's insane, right? But it was just innocent larks back when I was a kid. We even made one of those little tennis ball things. You slit I can't even say this on Twitch, probably. I can't tell you how to do it. But anyway, it's just like, it sets on fire. It's not going to blow up a building or anything. But that is, that is, something that was just matter of the course back then. You were entitled to the information. It's only if you used it for an illegal activity that you were then breaking the law. Now owning the information is illegal. That's weird, right? And here we have it here, that if you were to look at one of those websites, it's on a list. So let's say, I don't know, you're interested in thermite and how it works, that's going to get flagged. I mean, this is if you looked at enough of these websites, they're going to be able to come to you, they're going to come to you and use this to investigate your other shit. This is going to be enough to get a warrant. Your browsing history, bulk hacking and surveillance. So this is bulk hacking. What do you mean bulk hacking? Basically, this means that you can just hack entire networks of computers and devices. So linked networks, you can hack an entire network. And the policies are super vague, and they can do it, and they can surveil you under the same rules. Mass surveillance mitigation. So the Snoopers Charter makes it law that all browsing activity should be recorded at the ISP level, which means it won't do much good to use the private mode of your browser, so that's done. Browsing incognito is irrelevant. And the only way to do this is to obfuscate the connection between yourself and the ISP. So now you're going to use Tor browsers. And I don't use this, I should, but there's like Tor browsers. There's something called Proton Mail, which is if you've got anything to hide, if you're involved in anything like even vaguely illegal, or you just don't want people snooping, Proton Mail is fully encrypted. But what's interesting is these are now being debated about how we get around this. Tor browsers, for example, are being subject to legislature. People are talking about how we make Tor browsers illegal. People are talking about should Proton Mail or any encrypted mail service be allowed. And this is the next thing. As you try and mitigate this these attempts to surveil you, they're going to quickly strip them away. They're going to quickly strip them away. And that's happening in Britain. This isn't America. Remember how people railed against the Patriot Act? This is far worse. This is the most invasive bill that's ever been introduced. So, yeah, and you can see, you guys know it. You guys know what you're talking about. People saying, Tor is not safe. You're right. It absolutely isn't. There's been a number of articles where we've seen people have got onto the Tor browsers to browse the deep web and infiltrate stuff, and they're all federal agents. It's absolutely compromised up the wazoo. So I don't know what the alternatives are. But this is happening. This is happening. And trust me, if it goes well in Britain, it's coming in Europe, and it's coming to America. So all the people who have been distracted by the firework display of Brexit, Trump, your real freedoms, your very real freedoms are being eroded, by the way, while you're bickering about all of this nonsense. So, yeah, just thank the media for that as well. Thank the media that didn't deem your privacy being completely violated by the government, didn't deem that to be a big story, didn't deem that to be front page news. Everything Edward Snowden said would happen is all coming to grotesque life, and nobody considers this to be a story worth talking about. But, of course, hey, Brexit. So Britain is now a snoopers. A country for snoopers. And just to let you know just how ridiculous it's getting in Britain as well, this is an old story, but one I want to bring up. So, I don't know if you know this. There was a guy in Scotland. He got arrested. He got arrested for making a YouTube video. What do you think this YouTube video could be about? I'm going to wait for the chat to take a guess on this one. I'm going to have a drink of water. I'm going to pour myself a lovely glass of orange juice as part of a calorie-controlled diet. I want to see what you guys think. What type of YouTube video could get you arrested in Britain? Fisting, spez, fish and chips, anal, and yes, Edu34, you are right. You know which story I'm going to go with. This is a man who made a video, a comedy video, I must stress, a comedy video about his girlfriend's dog. Now, the dog is a lovely little pug. I like pugs. I kind of look like a pug. Fucked up hybrid of a pug and a pit bull. A pug bull, a pit pug, whatever you want. And he decided it'd be funny to turn the dog into a Nazi. Now, let's be clear. I just want to say, I don't know if you guys know this. Dogs can't have political ideologies. I just want you to know this. Dogs cannot have political ideologies. They can't. They're incapable of it. They don't have the mental capacity. So when you teach a dog to be a Nazi, it's a very loose term, because obviously the dog can't go out and be a Nazi because it's a dog. And I know this might seem a silly thing to have to explain, but I want to explain it anyway. It's a dog, so it can't go out and act on its newfound Nazi beliefs. It can't oppress people based on being a Nazi. But anyway, he was arrested on the grounds that it was a hate crime. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you part of the video at least. This is obviously too hot right now. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this video on. And have a watch. Just have a watch of this. And you tell me if this is worth getting arrested.
My girlfriend is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee dog is. And so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi.
Just want to stress there, as you heard on the video, he's obviously not a Nazi sympathizer. He's anti-Nazi. He just said the least cute thing I can think of is a Nazi. He thinks they're disgusting. He thinks they're not cute. Let's go on.
How cute and adorable her wee dog is. And so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi. Buddha, do you want to gas the juice? Do you want to gas the juice? Mum will gas the juice, son. You want to gas the juice? Do you want to gas the juice? Come on, gas the juice. Come on, gas the juice, son. Come on. Do you want to gas the juice? Do you want to gas the juice? Do you want to gas the juice? Gas the juice. Juice. It's time to get up now, Buddha. It's time to get up. Do I gas the juice?
Ausgekehlt wurde von dem leichten Zeug, das die FBI zu finden begann. Heute müssen wir selbst...
Sieg heil! Sieg heil! Sieg heil! Sieg heil!
Right. So let's talk about what we've just seen. First of all, I think on a serious note, I think we can all agree. I think everybody would agree that the Holocaust is one of the lowest ebbs of human history. It's one of the most disgusting things to ever have happened in human history. I think we can all agree with that. I think it's a particularly disturbing genocide, of which obviously there's been many throughout human history. But the nature of it, the execution of it, the clinical nature, and the fact it's very recent in human memory, I think really adds to just how unbelievably atrocious it is. And there's a lot of people who would say that you can't make jokes about this, or that it's off the table for humorous, content, right? It's one of the, you can't joke about it. It's too much. It's the one thing. Now, I never subscribe to the idea that a joke, something can't be joked about. I don't think that's ever accurate. But here's what I will say. There's examples of this in mainstream media and television. Think about the Larry David episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm called The Survivor, which is fucking hilarious and incredible, where he is sympathizing with some chef who's a bit difficult, blah, 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 because he sees he's got the number tattooed on his arm. And it then turns out it's just a phone number or something, and he rubs it off at the end, and, big laugh, right? And from a very awful subject, because obviously the guy, they were branded. It's disgusting, right? So I don't think necessarily that when you make a joke about this kind of thing, I think obviously context is important, right? This isn't. There's some tasteless jokes out there, and it's up to you whether you want to consume them or not. It's not my job to police comedy, right? But the bottom line is here, this guy is telling his dog, do you want to gas the juice? Do you want to gas the juice? And obviously, he's anti-Nazi. He makes that very clear. He clearly isn't going to do that. I mean, he's not actually going out to be violent towards Jewish people. He's making a specific reference to something disgusting that happened in human history. And what he's done with the dog is, obviously the dog isn't excited at the prospect of gassing Jews because it's a dog. He's given it a series of verbal responses, like the Pavlov's dog response with the ringing bell, and they start to salivate because they associate it with food. He's also associated the phrase gas the Jews with, do you want to go for a walk? And Zeke Howell with lift your arm up and you'll get a treat, right? Now, those things are potentially offensive, but illegal. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that somebody's been arrested over this video, which I saw everybody in the chat. A lot of people are laughing about it. So I'll let you decide whether it's funny or not, and whether that goes too far or whether that's an issue. But the idea that police went to this man's house arrested him because he was guilty of hate crimes, promotion of hate speech, and anti-Semitism is absurd. It's absurd and it's worrying because, what happens next, right? I mean, this is no joke. I'm amazed they didn't put the dog down. I know, Richard, you made a joke. Yeah, no, I'm being deadly serious. I'm amazed they didn't put that dog down because let's follow it through to its logical conclusion. If a dog bites a human, we will put the dog down, saying that it cannot be controlled. It's crossed that threshold through which we allow dogs to live in society. It is not a domesticated animal anymore. Well, I imagine if the dog was to do the salute in public, then it's grotesquely offensive, right? It's crossed that boundary of what's acceptable. So we should probably just kill the dog, right? I mean, seriously, this is the absurdest present that we live in, where we honestly believe that a dog can be a Nazi. That's where we're at right now as a society. Cool, right? Anyway, shall we get into some Reddit stuff? Should we get into some Reddit stuff? Yep, I think we should. So, I'm going to start, actually, because, I might make this into a video in and of itself. Right. I've done videos. I've done multiple videos on Reddit. Obviously, I'm banned from Reddit. I still don't know why. It's never been communicated to me in an official capacity why. I think they know why they need to, why they haven't officially communicated with it and have actually failed to respond to multiple requests for me to get my personal information. I've contacted their legal department. They've promised to cooperate. They're well past the deadline of what's an acceptable amount of time to send me my personal information that they have on file. They are a data handler. I have a right to that data. But anyway, they refuse to cooperate in any way, shape, or form, even explaining why I've been banned. Yet privately they say, you know why you're banned. Richard Lewis knows why he's banned. I do not know why I'm banned. Here's why they will never publicly say it. Because there's only two ways they can ever arrive at a conclusion that it's acceptable to ban me from Reddit completely across the platform when they do allow pedophiles and white supremacists to come back time and time again. I'm just a journalist and I've never done anything even vaguely close to either of those two categories in terms of bad behavior. They've either taken private, personal conversations and used that as a basis to apply a ruling against me, which would actually be a violation of their own site rules, that the moderators would have taken Skype conversations and Skype logs that we had and then used that to show me, he's being abusive, look, he's harassing us, even though they most of the time initiated the conversations themselves. So the idea of taking my private conversations, handing that to a data handler when you're a moderator, that violates Reddit's rules. You can't do that. And so they will never admit that that's what they did, or they have simply just listened to mods' secondhand stories about all these things I've done, and they have no evidence. So they'll never admit what I'm banned for. I'm going to guess they think I've doxed somebody. There's no evidence for that. Yes, I know who these Reddit moderators are. When someone's trying to take my livelihood away, I like to get to know them. I'm old-fashioned like that. I think if someone wants to literally pressure my boss into firing me, I have a right to know who that is. I have a right to face my accusers. And fuck anyone who says I don't have a right to that individual's name. Fuck you. Plain and simple. So I'm intrigued as to what it is that they have me banned for, and they will never say it. So, obviously, I've done lots about Reddit. I think they're disgusting. I think the admins are deranged virtue signaling losers for the most part. And if you look at what, people like Ellen Powell have gone on to do in their lives after it, this is a woman who was involved in fucking pyramid schemes and frivolous lawsuits. And yet we hold her up as somebody who's good, but this guy over here who just wants the right to face his accusers when they're trying to take your money away and literally hoover all the money out and make you homeless and everything else. Moderators are allowed to do that, and this is why, because Reddit's fundamental problem is the moderators. Right? Here's the thing: Reddit grew incredibly big once Dig cooked its own goose by allowing power users a disproportionate amount of power, and it was the migration, and Reddit's just simple to use interface and everything else. It just grew. It's a great name. It's a great theme. Blah, blah, blah. It's a good idea if it was done correct. And basically, boom. Everybody graduated then. It's become one of the biggest websites on the internet. Now, unfortunately, this was a small tech startup. It could never actually employ people to moderate to the degree it would need to. So they had to get volunteers. And lo and behold, the volunteers now have become completely in charge of the site. I mean, completely. I'm going to prove that to you when we talk about Reddit now. The moderators are literally running that show. And this was proven when Reddit made the decision to fire somebody, the lady who handles the AMAs, and the moderators used this as a way to gain more power. They pretended to be showing solidarity for the staff member. They weren't. They blacked out the websites and basically shut it down and set all the websites to private, so there was no reason to visit the site. The subreddits to private, so there's no reason to visit the website. And of course, this greatly hampered Reddit's traffic, so they quickly cobbled together a solution. Here's what the solution was. The solution was moderators weren't saying, let's get Victoria, her name was. Victoria had job back. Let's just get more powers. I want to be able to block ban users. I want a better mod mail. I want complete unfettered power. This gibberish. And Reddit admins promised it to them. Reddit staff promised it to them. If they reopen the site. That's how fucking beholden and pathetic Reddit is. Their volunteer workforce controls that website. Now, I've always said, if Reddit wants to get profitable and get traffic back, and actually have a website that's worth using, because you can see it's swirling down the pan. I don't give a fuck what they say. You can cite traffic numbers and everything else, and we'll get to that in a second. You've never converted your influence into anything meaningful. You've never been profitable, and you are gonna. Every time there's a scandal like what's happened last night, you are closer to extinction. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see you all out in the poorhouse. Right? I can't wait, because you're fucking scum. You're scum because you have allowed a bunch of mentally unhinged, virtue signaling, lunatics, who have nothing in their lives beyond the control they've amassed for themselves on Reddit, to systematically harass people, to systematically limit access and use of your website, to be able to enforce vague, nebulous policies while not being held to any accountable standard whatsoever. Reddit staff are on record saying moderators can behave however they want, yet they have something called modicate. It's never enforced. You very rarely see a mod get removed. Look what happened with the No Man's Sky subreddit recently. This guy had a temper tantrum about how, people were saying the game was bad and they've been ripped off, which they absolutely have. So he shut down the entire subreddit. Staff member gets involved, brings back the subreddit, reinstates it, and then thanks the guy, the moderator, who shut it down and caused all the problems for cooperating and fixing the problems. That's how fucking cooked they are, and I never use that term. I prefer cuckolded, I prefer the fur use, but that's how fucked they are in terms of the power dynamic here. So, they need a system that removes moderators. They need to empower the users to democratically moderate. And everyone says, this will be a disaster. And they all cite these examples of subreddits that went wild when people were trolling. And there will be trolls. But here's the problem. If you create a good enough system, it'll work. It'll just simply work. That's the reality. You can't just say, we tried it, it doesn't work. So this shit system is better than... use your fucking imaginations, folks. You're the guys with the money. You're the fucking, California-based tech fucking wizards. Figure it out. You need to get rid of the moderators, because the moderators are killing Reddit. They've turned it into their own personal playground. How many times is a user who posts in a subreddit like Kotaku in Action going to get banned from 600 of the subreddits because of power moderation? How many times are you going to allow that to happen? How many people were shadow banned for years without even knowing they were shadow banned because of the insidious way a shadow ban works? You think you're interacting with people. You think no one's replying or upvoting your comments or your content. You can't see that you're banned. Someone has to tell you. And usually a moderator, and of course moderators don't like to do that because they're happy you're shadow banned, because the assumption is that what you're doing is wrong. Now, when Spez came, after Chairman Powell fucking went away, Spez came in and said there'll be no more shadow bans. Then gave moderators tools to effectively shadow ban you. They can put something into their mod feed now. So basically, every time you post on a subreddit, it just automatically removes your comment anyway. So it's so what's the point? You're effectively shadow banned from interacting with that community based on a mod's whim. So it's completely disingenuous what they're saying. So to the big story. And again, I hope a Reddit staff member comes across this. Again, I know I'm one of their favorite fucking topics. So listen, just trust me. If you want to get profitable, here's the thing. Because I know you want to virtue signal a little bit, right? I know you want to virtue signal a little bit. That's why you've let politics get away with absolute rampant bias and corruption for years. So I know you want to virtue signal a little bit. But you actually want to make money while you're virtue signaling, don't you? I get that, right? Okay, cool. So you got to get rid of the moderators because they don't want to make money. They don't care. They are ideologically driven. They are insane. They want to just have the power, the dominion over every other user that uses it. They want one of the biggest websites in the world to be under their control at any given time. So you must remove the moderators if you want to get profitable, or you must find a way to bring them at heel and bring them in line. And I'm going to show you how bad it is because Spez got wrecked by the moderators over this. I've never seen anything so pathetic. The CEO of a company in a Slack chat being abused and ordered around by volunteer workers. It is pathetic. Strap yourselves in for this. This is how fucked Reddit is. And this is why you should all leave and get to another platform, because there are ones coming and Reddit needs to swirl down the toilet so all of those pathetic little fucking moderators who have nothing else in their lives can go back to being absolutely nothing, which is what they deserve. So, let's start. This is the thread from the Donald. I'm having to use archived threads, which don't always display particularly well on this, but we will try. So it might be a little bit tough to read. Hang on. Yeah, there it is. Right, okay. So this is the Donald. And you can see it was a post that was made. The admins are suffering from low energy. So for those of you who don't know, there's a thing going on at the moment called Pizzagate. Now, if you've heard of Pizzagate, you don't need me to explain it to you, but Pizzagate is the idea that there is a large child sex trafficking ring operating out of a number of pizza stores with ties to the highest levels of government and law enforcement, and it's operating in plain view, even to the point where they've got known paedophilic logos on their menus. Now, I'm going to have to tell you something that may make you very disappointed in me, but I'm having a hard time swallowing that. It's so outlandish. People are going, when are you going to do a video on Pizzagate? I'll just sit out of this one, if that's all the same with you. I'm going to wait and see. Let's put it that way. But anyway, obviously one thing, because it's been a bad year for journalism, one thing that we've learned this year is, we've learned two things. One, mainstream media lies en masse. Two, we've also learned that 4chan is better at disseminating and breaking down information and finding links than the average investigative journalist in the mainstream media. So there we go. So, I say 4chan, 8chan as well, probably. So, credit to all the channers. And, obviously, credit as well to people like the Donald subreddit, who've, obviously been involved in shit like that as well. Now, Pizzagate, obviously, is making allegations that are quite serious. It's a child sex trafficking ring. You are alleging government officials are involved in it. It was always going to get removed from Reddit. Reddit is beholden to the status quo. It runs on venture capital money. It needs bailouts regularly because it's so not profitable because they're fucking idiots and they don't understand what will make a profitable website. They just keep violating your privacy. That's how they think it's going to work. But anyway, so this is what happened. Pizzagate got shut down, the subreddit, and a bunch of people in the Donald said, well, fuck this, right? Because obviously they are Donald Trump leaning. They believe it has ties to, Podesta and all of these people in the DNC. So they consider that Spez was aiding and abetting child sex traffickers. Now, that led to them making multiple posts saying, fuck Spez. And they do this all the time anyway. And if you don't know how Reddit works, you can put a little if you put the name of the user in a comment, it goes into their inbox. So imagine being Spez, Spez. He must just get thousands and thousands and thousands of this shit every day. And imagine when all of them are saying he's a closet pedophile, which is one of the allegations that were made, because he was assisting and facilitating pedophiles, which we don't know exist. That's a particularly serious allegation. I think that's actually a bit reprehensible, in my opinion. but also just general fuck you, you're a cuck, you're pathetic, blah, blah, blah. And that would happen on the Donald all the time. So I understand why that might get a little bit frustrating, you know. I can't even imagine. I get it daily. I get abusive messages every day, but I can't imagine on that scale, right? So, okay, cool. So let's go back. So what they found out was that Spez had changed the comments. Well, they didn't know it was Spez. They knew the admins were. And what was happening was, wherever they typed fuck Spez, it had been replaced to be the name of a Donald moderator. The Donald moderator. And this was discovered and bookmarked, and you can find this thread yourself and check out the images. I won't bring them up. But yes, so there you have it. So they were like, well, who the fuck's done this? Well, didn't take long. And credit to the Donald for being so fucking vigilant that somebody caught this. Again, you're fucking with the wrong people here, because they literally love this shit. They literally just know how to fucking, find this information and present it. And people are archiving everything you say because no one trusts the left anymore. So there's never any chance you were going to get away with this. So Spez comes in and says, hey everyone, yep, I messed up with the fuck Spez comments. It's been a long week here to trying to unwind with Pizzagate stuff. As much as we try to maintain a good relationship with you all, it does get old getting called a paedophile constantly. As the CEO, I shouldn't play such games, and it's all fixed now. Our community team is pretty pissed at me, so I most assuredly won't do this again. Fuck Spez. And obviously this was a Wednesday, so he's saying it's a long week. I mean, whatever. But one of the mods in the Donald, Shadowman 3001, said, you understand the gravity of the massive fireball you just put out there, correct? You've lost the trust of at least thousands of users of this website. You've literally, in that petty act, destroyed the credibility of Reddit. Any article that quotes a user post, uncredible. For all people know here, we are all now in danger of the admins throwing child porn into one of our histories and endangering us. This was a massive mistake. This is your career, and you put your emotions into making this massive mistake. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Why this is hugely important. Anybody that lets this slide, anybody that says this is just a joke, right? You're fucking very, very wrong. You are very wrong. Okay, so let's look at the significance of this. You post on Reddit. Admins can now change what you say by editing it on a database level. They go deep into the database and edit what you say. Now, there's been arrests made through Reddit. We've had a man in Britain arrested for making racially charged comments. He used the word monkey to describe a dead black teenager who had committed several crimes in a Toxteth area in Liverpool. He was arrested on that basis now and charged. So that's completely fucked. How can we take anything as gospel now that we know admins can edit our comment history? Okay, that would be the first line of defense, I imagine, for anybody getting charged with it. But not only that, who's to say that this couldn't be utilized to basically target users? Because certainly Spez has targeted the moderators there, the moderators of the Donald. And let's be clear, on the same day he did that, literally the same day, the moderators at the Donald had received a thank you from the admins saying that they'd been pretty good moderators, they cleaned up their act, and they had ensured that there was a good user experience on their website as a result of it. This is documented, you can go find it. So, if that's the case, and we're thanking the moderators, why on earth are we targeting the Donald moderators? Remember, what moderators do is they make Reddit money. They work for free to make Reddit money, based on being allowed just to have their own space and promote their ideology. Now, I've said moderators were all insane across the board. I won't necessarily give the Donald moderators a pass, but certainly they have had to deal with some egregious and outrageous stipulations and sanctions by Reddit. While SRS are free to link to comments and harass people, release information, brigade people outside of Reddit. That's happened to Destiny, my old co-worker on the Unfiltered show, where they went after all of his sponsors and tried to ruin his life. This is a father with a man with a child who makes a living from streaming, and they went after him because of things he'd said. This was all deemed okay when SRS deliberately went after Reddit sponsors because they were like, oh, Reddit's the new Stormfront. Absolutely absurd position to take. Reddit sucked it up and just allowed them to do it. But the moderators on the Donald, nah, fuck you. They changed the algorithm so Donald posts can't get to the front because apparently you're all bots. Not true. I think the election proves that maybe there's a few more Donald Trump supporters than you thought. 98.1% certain win for Hillary Clinton. Yes, that's you, Huffington Post. Maybe they're not bots. Maybe they're real people. Ever think about that? Nah, of course not. They're bots. They gotta be. They're winning. They gotta be bots. It can't be real. Classic left thinking. So, you know, they changed the algorithms so Donald Post couldn't get to it. They disabled voting, you know, so you can't upvote and harass people. They've warned them multiple times about linking to other comments, linking to other subreddits, even to the point where they can't even debate the front page of politics, which was a fucking disgrace during the election. An absolute disgrace. What's that? Pedestrian email leaks? Yeah, we're not going to put that up on the politics subreddit. Why would anyone want to discuss that? It's only one of the biggest political fucking scandals in recent history. But no need to discuss that. But did Donald Trump eat a taco bowl? Front page. He's a racist. He's a bigot. And just 18 posts or whatever the fuck it is. Just all anti-Trump, 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 anti-Trump. Occasional little pro-Bernie. But mainly just, isn't Hillary Clinton great? Hillary Clinton is going to save the fucking world. Fuck the Donald. Fuck the Donald. So they had to deal with all of that. And basically everyone who ever used the Donald, the moderators are responsible for their behavior. What an absurd standard to take. That you are a moderator of a subreddit and anyone who's ever posted in your subreddit you are now responsible for their behavior. SRS aren't. No other fucking subreddit on Reddit is held accountable like that. But the Donald has to deal with that. Because they're Trump supporters, so they're evil, they're bigots, they're scumbags, blah, 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 just bullshit. So they had to deal with all of that nonsense, right? They had to deal with all of that nonsense, and yet still got thanked by the staff of Reddit for keeping it in place. So I will give them credit as a moderation team, because that must be a mind fuck. You got the staff who definitely want to shut you down and get rid of you, putting all these ridiculous rules in play that no one else has to adhere to. Meanwhile, you've got users, some of which are reactionary and fucking crazy. I think we can agree with that. You have to deal with all of this bullshit. So, credit to the Donald moderators, seriously. I mean, whatever you think about that subreddit, whatever you think about these people, whatever you think about Trump supporters, they have worked in incredibly difficult conditions and have done pretty well, right? I mean, we can all agree with that. That's just objectively true. So, let's just rewind a little bit and let's get back to, Spez. You know, targeting moderators, targeting your volunteer staff to basically say, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. The moderators specifically, not the users, the moderators, is unbelievable. I mean, and it's funny, because it's the Donald, moderators aren't going to stand with them. You know, hey, you fired Victoria, we stand with her. Can we have some mod powers, please? Can we get some mod powers? Oh, you're actually fucking with other moderators and editing people's comments completely against your own site rules, by the way. I'll bring that up in a second. To make it look like the moderators are bad and these people hate the moderators. We won't stand with the moderators because they're the moderators of the Donald. So fuck their politics. I didn't have this ready actually, but I think I'm going to be able to bring this up. And again, credit goes to the Donald if it's still there. Their front page is pretty rapid. Can I find this? Well, without Sam here to search for it while I'm looking at it. No, it's not the second page either. Man, that gets some traffic, doesn't it? But basically, they violated their own rules. It clearly says in the Reddit rules that you must not impersonate a user maliciously. And Spez has done that multiple times. Spez has done this. And there's a reason why this rule is in place. Now, here's the thing. If I want to impersonate a user, I would either have to hack their account, or I would have to create an account that gives the illusion of being them, right? So that's a rule that's in place in Reddit. Now, what Spez did, he didn't even hack their accounts, so they didn't even know they'd been compromised. They didn't even know their words were being edited. They didn't even know, right? So imagine the shit he could have put in there if he was feeling even more retarded that day, right? Let's think about it. They didn't even know. They literally didn't even know. So how is that not a violation of Reddit's policy? It's the most egregious violation, isn't it? Now let's get into the law. Let's get into the law. This is a violation of your data. Your data has been breached. Your account effectively has been accessed and altered by the CEO of the company that provides the platform for your account. This is unreal. This screams class action lawsuit. And you'll win. You will win. This is absolutely disgusting. Anybody who had their comment changed by Spez, you should get together. Fuck it, I'm half tempted to start a legal fund, and we all have a whip round, and we all get donations going. All get together and talk to one another. Do not let this stand, because that is actionable. I know enough about the law to know that that is actionable, right? And you should take action. Even if Spez gets fired over this, which he absolutely should stand down immediately, because the serious implications of what he's done. This isn't hysteria, okay? I saw a lot of people say, oh, you know, he's just edited a comment. We've all done that on internet forums when we've had admin status. Okay, this isn't a joke. The implications for this are so wide-reaching. Reddit is so now compromised. It has lost all credibility as a platform. And if anybody, you know, is worried about this, you know, looking at their history, I would be. If I've said anything controversial, I'm now worried. Could admins have altered my comments? You know, were some of the things I thought I was typing, have they been changed? Could somebody throw up a comment 2 years from now of me saying something racist, which I know I didn't type, ruining my whole career and reputation, because I wouldn't be able to redact it. I wouldn't be able to say I didn't say that. They would go, oh, no, you did. It's on your account. Someone else log in, did they? Right? And here's the other thing. Did we forget about Stone Tier? Did we forget about that? This is somebody's Reddit account that's being used in a fucking federal investigation for the Hillary Clinton email stuff. He basically asked how to obfuscate evidence from a federal investigation. He asked Reddit on how to do that. Then, when it was discovered it was him, again, by these people who were doing journalist jobs better than journalists, he then asked Reddit help in hiding that and removing all of the incriminating evidence. And Reddit complied. Reddit were happy to do this. So, that should have been enough. Shut Reddit down. You have assisted in someone obfuscating evidence from a federal investigation. That's a criminal act. That should have been enough. But no. Now the CEO is editing comments at whim. Do people see what's going on here? Right. So you absolutely should have a fucking problem with this. And you absolutely should check the fuck out from Reddit today. Because alternatives are coming. I'm going to name some in a moment. I'm going to give a special shout out to the Donald at the end, which I might clip into a video, make sure they see it. I've got some advice for them. And they better take it. Because it's good advice. It's sound advice. So, this is a fuck-up of monumental proportions. This is a fuck-up that I think should get Reddit sued. I hope to God it does. We shouldn't allow abuses of privacy to this degree be allowed to stand. Now, let's have a look here. Everyone's picked up on this in the media. The media, for once, seem to get the idea that this is a big deal. But still, they're basically saying they're allowing Spez to get away with this line that he's somehow the victim. This is a CEO of a huge tech startup, a man who has effectively been self-employed for God knows how long, has dined out on Reddit success for God knows how long, made a fortune individually, even though the company doesn't. And he's saying, I modified their post because Trump supporters wouldn't send me expletives. You are a public figure, Steve Huffman. You are a public figure. Welcome to what it's like. You get abuse. It sucks. I've been accused of being a pedophile. Don't like it. I work in an industry with young people. That allegation is particularly offensive to me. It should be offensive to anyone, but given the line of my work, obviously I'm around young people a lot. Imagine that. Imagine the allegations. And I have no doubt that there are genuine predators in esports and gaming. Right? I have no doubt about it. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard about people grooming young guys by giving them money and in-game items. You know, my as I said before, my girlfriend worked in child protection services. I've heard shit, right? So I don't like that, and I'm sympathetic that you want to lash out. But here's the point: you do it through your platform. You don't edit comments. You don't fuck with people's privacy. All you had to do is release a Medium post. All you had to do was put a front page post up at your website. You've got the right to do that. What you don't have the right to do is what you did. So fuck your victimhood. So anyway, it goes on, and it's like, oh, it's child abuse, and it's all over Pizzagate, and it's all about, he's trying to shut down witch hunting. It's okay to witch hunt Donald moderators, of course. It's okay to witch hunt anyone who posts in the Donald. It's okay to witch hunt just anyone who says anything that's not politically correct. That's all fine. But anyway, the mainstream media are picking up on this, and obviously there's references to power in here and everything else, and there's a bunch of reports today, thank God. It's not being ignored. And it won't go away. And I hope, rather than making Huffman out to be the fucking victim, let's actually do this right, media. Let's get this guy out. Because what he's done is unacceptable. He needs to go. He needs to be completely disassociated from Reddit. And if that doesn't happen, Reddit is tacitly endorsing abuse of users' privacy. And therefore, as a site, they're compromised. Get that lawsuit going. Put these fuckers in the ground. Right, so just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, as I'm about to turn in to bed for the night, and I got mine courtesy of my friend Mike Cernovich, but it was doing the rounds. Moderator, there's a Slack for Reddit staff and super moderators. Now, again, you think this is all conspiracy, you think this is all made up. Let me tell you that the Reddit moderators hang out with the Reddit staff. They're so dependent on each other, right? A power moderator is basically a staff member who just doesn't get paid. They have all the same rights, all the same input. They hang out together. They're not just regular users on the site. Let's dispel that myth. And I'm going to show you. This Slack got leaked. And here we have it. So hopefully it's going to come up. Please archive, please work. We've got a black screen. And let's try that again. Okay, because this is the important one. Is this going to work? Nope. God damn you, archive, and your temperamental nature. Let's just try one more. And hopefully it's going to work if we reset it. It's okay. I might be able to take the images direct and do it that way. Right, let's see. You will not silence me. We will make this work, so. We will have to go through them individually, it seems, which kind of sucks, but let's do it anyway. All right, let's try this then. All right, now can I zoom in? I'm going to have to on this, I think. All right, here we go. We're getting closer. All right, there we go. Right, so let's start. This is the Slack that's basically talking about, everything that's been going on with Spez. And, you can see here. And they're talking about shutting down the Donald. You can see, what they say. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now, and blah, blah, blah. And then all of this is stupid. Right? You can see here as well. I'm pretty sure he said in here at some point he turned off user mentions ages ago. That was a stealth change, Spez. That was a stealth change. I'm gonna go through these logs in great detail, by the way. This is gonna be a long segment. So you've got another power moderator who, remember, are just unpaid staff, and they're saying he turned off user mentions ages ago. Now, does that mean for moderators? Does that mean for staff members? Does that mean for all users? Very interesting. But that's a stealth change that hasn't been declared. Even if he doesn't get inbox mentions, they're constantly harassing him. The inbox thing isn't all there is to that. So apparently they're harassing the CEO. Now, no, let's be clear. Harassment isn't saying nasty things on the internet about someone. That's not harassment. So anyway, lots of PMs too. What CEO who interacts with the community and says, hey, contact me if you have any ideas, wouldn't get a lot of PMs on a site that enables PMs as a matter of course. So down they go. Is there any place where this is being discussed that isn't on the Donald? That subreddit is unreadable with all this hashtag header shit. And obviously subreddit drama, the not quite so militant offshoot of SRS, but still does with it, still does all the same kind of thing. And down it goes. So you can see here, they've linked the thread. You know what, no, though? If you mod politics right now, you should be having a fucking aneurysm 10 times what I'm feeling. Because Spez didn't give two shits about you being trolled for literal months. Pizzagate was happening for 2 days. So again, moderators like to do this. Moderators like to, oh, we're the victims. Oh, we do it for free and we just get nothing in return. You get the power, which is all you really crave. You get the illusion of status because you're interacting with CEOs who literally, I'll tell you this, secretly, even in Spez's brain, who gets really cooked in this chat in a minute, he loathes you, he despises you, he sees you for what you are. He sees you as pathetic, petty, reprehensible losers. Life's great losers. He knows that. Everybody knows that. Because who would volunteer all of these hours to do this unless there was something very wrong and dysfunctional in their lives? You're not making the world a better place. You're measurably doing the opposite. So he absolutely loathes you. And, you know, the idea that, oh, we are the true victims because we get abuse. You get something far greater than anything that you know, someone saying something bad about you is. You get the right to censor them on one of the biggest websites in the world. You get to do that. So let's stop the tears, yeah? No one's harassing you. No one's coming to your home and threatening you. I've had that. I've had that courtesy of Reddit. I've had my girlfriend threatened to be raped because of witch hunts that have been allowed on Reddit. 'Cause it's okay when a Reddit moderator goes on Twitter and posts Richard Lewis drove a user to suicide. Completely not true. It's okay when the Enigma Blade does that, but it's not okay when I call another user who says, haha, you make up all your stories, a fucking moron. I'm out of line. But when a moderator does things, it's okay when they do it. So fuck your victimhood. Spez is always tagged in the Donald, no matter what. It could be Spez voted for Trump and all the top comments would be fuck Spez. Next time he snaps, can he accidentally ban them? And you're going to see here, they all start talking about let's ban the Donald. Honestly, I'm just hoping the backlash is limited to Spez only. You know, of course, this Meganum is saying he's been worse than trolled. Oh, he's been trolled. No, he hasn't been worse than trolled. And then somebody alludes here to a car being vandalized. And then Meganum goes, that's not public knowledge, haha, but yeah. Other default mods, please don't speculate who. Right? So apparently a car got vandalized. Whose? I don't know. You know, but obviously, again, they sit in their group that we don't have access to, that no one's leaking anything from, crying about, ooh, harassment. Yeah, okay, let's see the evidence of this car being vandalized. Let's see if you know who did it and why. All right? I'd like to think this pizza hoax is going to let up soon, but seeing the Donald is fully backing it. And anyway, they're talking about it. And then Spez turns up. Bring back Pow! Sad face. This is a CEO of a company that has violated the site's own terms, has violated user privacy, has committed something that should get him absolutely fired and certainly sued. It comes at a terrible time because Reddit's under immense pressure, not just fiscally, but also in terms of this freedom of speech debate that's going on. And what does he do? Does he come out and own up to it? No, he just does one post, it's fixed now. And then he retreats to an echo chamber of loser dick suckers, of people who are just going to fillet his ego. And what's the first thing he says? Bring back Pow. I don't care at all. I don't give a flying fuck about what I've done. I don't care. Immediately, Spez! Yay! The man of the hour's here! Yeah, woo! Spez, you've lived the dream. You've abused power. Well, you've abused the power that we wish we had. Ooh, you're so good. Ooh. Right? That was one of the funniest things I've seen in weeks. Thank you so much. I guess it would be in bad taste to edit the title here. Joking about what he's done. Ha 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 ha. Right? Spez, just rid us of the Donald. All will be forgotten, not forgiven. Spez, just hire me as your replacement. Again, they just crave the power. Like I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you're just some bumbling fucking loser who sits in your mother's basement. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I don't think you're equipped to be the CEO of a company. Seriously, what does Reddit have to lose? Yes, I'm using the Trump line. Spez, you are my favorite now. Spez, yes. Yes. And we're all having lots of fun. I've just violated users' privacies. I am loving this. Thank you. Make me feel better about myself. Make love to Spez sensually. Spez, you beat out Okrasorm as my favorite admin now. Be like, you guys were mean to me and it's my site, so I banned you now. Because that's how it should work. This is Reddit who claims to be free speech. Yes, please, ban the Donald. Now, you're going to notice this mana slimming goes on and on and on and on and on about this, like really almost in tears while typing. Spez, I user tagged you months ago about growing some balls and dealing with them. I apologize for the growing some balls comment, but had you taken my advice, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. This is a volunteer moderator. This is somebody who has nothing better to do with their time but be a volunteer mod, lecturing a CEO of a company about how they should have followed their instructions and it would have all been okay. This is how fucking deluded and mentally ill the average mod is. That you would talk to a CEO in this manner, right? Now, I would say, Spez should go here, like, stay in your fucking lane, know your fucking role. You know, I allow you to be a moderator and have that space. You're right, it is my fucking website. I don't need to grow some balls. But here's the thing. Turns out, he actually does need to grow some balls because he just sucks this the fuck up. He just takes it. Oh shit, the man of the hour is here. Woo, let's all celebrate. Let's not look at the context of what this can mean. Please ban the Donald as a prank. Now, the only person who actually chastises Spez for what he did is this Stabanu guy. So Spez, you need to stay the hell off Reddit, seriously. Of course, drowned out by this shower of cunts. This is like watching a 13-year-old have a public tantrum, but worse. Absolutely true. Good on you. The admins have already lost integrity for this. What will they lose if they ban the Donald now? Their integrity? So in other words, ban the Donald because you've got nothing to lose. Spez, you animal. Why not rebuild it after the subreddit ban? Like the point is you open the goddamn floodgates. He actually did it. The absolute madman. Hey! I think we need to figure out the Donald without banning them because there will be another. Right. So let's be clear here. This is a CEO of a company who has broke his own rules, violated all this stuff, right? We all remember. Okay, we're all still in the room. He is talking about banning a subreddit, seriously, with volunteer staff who are goading him to ban this subreddit. It's done nothing. So to effectively further violate site rules. And he is saying the only reason he won't do this, is because there'll just be another one. There'll just be another one, so what's the point? You know, that's his thought process. No point in banning them. They'll just come back. Not, well, why would I ban them? They've broken no rules. That's how little he thinks of people. All right, let's get into the next one. Because like I say, there's lots of these. Right, back to the top. Then Spez boasts about it being his most gilded comment. Keep in mind, there's a lot of strong indications that Reddit staff can fake gild posts. This has been shown to almost certainly be true. It's my most gilded comment ever. You're the CEO of a site, mate. Why'd you care? Why'd you care if your comments get gilded or not? Fucking come on. Pathetic, innit? Anyway, it was funny as fuck. And it will likely be my most downvoted. Oh, I don't know about that. Pretty sure when you release your groveling serious apology to try and not get fired, I reckon that might get downvoted quite a fair bit. On it goes, this is the guy, All the Foxes. Now, All the Foxes is a notorious power moderator. This guy's fucking out of it. Like, seriously. This guy literally bans people for fuck all. He's a super power moderator. He mods so many subreddits, and he's just having a fucking breakdown. He's just, losing his mind in these logs. Look, nothing is enforced consistently, which creates issues like this, where you have a subreddit that is legitimately harassing the CEO of the site. And they don't get banned? But other subreddits are closed over much smaller things, and a user can get banned from posting 2 YouTube videos from the same channel. Shrug. I hear you. Spez. Yeah. Straight there. I hear you. He's agreeing with him. You're the CEO of the company, Spez. If you think he's right, you might want to change it, mightn't you? You might want to actually fucking do something about it. No. I'm just the CEO. I can't do anything except edit databases privately. I have that level of fucking access. And then Meganum wades in. He says, I hear you. And Meganum goes, and like, do you hear us? And Spez's like, yeah, I hear you. It shouldn't matter, though. In a vacuum, it really shouldn't matter. Right? If you don't... Anyway, Spez, hire me as your temp replacement. I'll ban the Donald. Put proper policies in place to eliminate future communities. Take all the flack, then you can take over again. And again, notice how that one keeps bringing that up, doesn't he? Oh, make me your replacement, please. Ooh, I'm so close to power. I'm so close to the power that I've always craved because my life is fucking empty and meaningless and I can't create anything of worth that people would want to consume. I've never had an worthwhile opinion or story that anyone ever wants to listen to. I just want to shut people down and just censor them. Please, Spez, please. Do you know what? Like, it is literally like some fucked up hybrid of Grimer, Wormtongue, and Gollum, isn't it? You know what I mean? How pathetic these fucking losers are. I'll do all of that for $3,000 worth of Reddit notes. Anyway, on it goes. I can scroll down through this again. More calls to ban the Donald, all the foxes. I like to imagine Spez coming up to his computer, opening a terminal, putting on a black stereotypical ski mask on his head, rubbing his hands together as he laughs maniacally and types in his SQL commands. These motherfuckers, yeah. I mean, you know, cool imagination, bro. Cool imagination. Like, wow, look at him. He's a gangster. He's deleting people's comments with a ski mask on. He's so gangster. So gangster. Then Meganum back, and you're going to notice there's this tag team going on between Meganum and all the foxes. The Donald created such a toxic-ass subreddit directed at admins, as you well know, obviously, and mods, particularly the politics mods, who did nothing but help them every time they asked for months and months, by the way. And their users felt the need to organize and individually dox, harass, and sometimes in real life intimidate us personally. One threatened to kill my fucking dog, for real. Didn't happen, did it? Didn't happen. Didn't happen. And yes, an admin banned them to what end? Oh, so you mean an individual, behaved inappropriately and got banned? So the system works? Shut the fuck up. I wanted that toxic garbage heap to stop festering. I'm personally less concerned about the Donald itself, but the precedent. How many times will this have to happen for the admins to decide that they need to change how they enforce things? The rules, change the rules, be harsher, enforce more. You've already driven swathes of users away from the website because they don't share the personal politics of this cabal of fucking power mods, which they always deny exists, and here's proof of it existing. But it's okay, just please, power. And for less people to talk about Meganum, the demon politics mod who was asking for this shit to happen to her. All the foxes, things changing every day. Yeah, we're getting worse every day. I am implementing all these ridiculous changes. We just have to do it slowly so people don't notice and people don't complain. Can one of those things that change tomorrow be that Donald no longer exists? 5 little slack up votes. Spez. It's not that easy. Oh, I know. Heart. All the foxes. Right, but clearly not in the direction that solves the issues I'm talking about regarding inconsistencies and how these things are enforced. I think the point is, Spez, that all of us are under siege, and we have very little power to defend our subs against the Donald. So unless this is stopped, what's to stop another sub doing the same thing? Under siege. Under siege. We are under siege. We're trying to create a safe space, and people with different opinions and ideologies come and use it, even though that's the purpose of the website we created the safe space on. We're under siege. Siege. How fucking mentally ill do you have to be to type that out and think that is actually what's happening? How? You're not under siege. Someone comes into the subreddit, you ban them. You have the power. The siege! It's so fucking insane that these people type this. And there's no one in that chat. There's no one in that fucking chat who has said, mate, you want to take a break, mate. You want to take a break. Like, just fucking have a holiday. It's too fucked up, dude. Anyway. Then they suggest, why don't you accidentally delete the Donald? And Spez says, and Handicap Reader also, what's so hard about just quarantining them? Now, if you know, they quarantine subs that are deemed to be unpalatable or of an adult nature. To get past the quarantine, you have to submit your email, right? So they know what you're watching. They know what you're looking at. They know what your political affiliations are. They know if you're into scat porn or whatever, right? They want to know this. Would you trust Reddit now with that information? They should actively now, I think, remove the quarantining policy, because I wouldn't have an account on Reddit now with an email attached to it. Absolutely fucking not. What's Spez going to do with that information next time he's pissed off? What's any admin going to do with that information now we know they have that access to your private information? It's one thing to have a throwaway account. It's another thing to have an email attached to it. So they need to abolish the quarantine system right now. And anyone who's in a quarantine subreddit with their email, you need to put in a fucking subject access request or whatever the equivalent law is in your country and get your information to find out if they're fucking with you. You need to flood them with this shit. And then Spez, of course, says, you are all welcome to send me examples of the Donald leaking. So in other words, hey, let's all get the Donald together. Let's all get the Donald together. And they're going, it leaks all over. It's just leaking. It's leaking. I feel slimy at the end of the day. Have a wash then, you fucking basement dweller. You know what I mean? I feel slimy at the end of the day. It's leaking. Oh, there's been there's been a few AMAs where they rallied to go after the original posters. Didn't happen. Where's the proof? How can a subreddit that literally is half dedicated to harassing users, literally half dedicated, literally 50% of the Donald harass users, it's literal, it's so literal, it's really happening, I'm saying it's happening, I'm a hysterical power moderator who literally bans people from 600 subreddits at a time because I'm literally so upset that they may have an opinion that differs from me, and I've somehow wormed my way into a pathetic position of power despite being an absolute nobody, but only on Reddit, of course. Literally, this is true. Absolute nonsense. Where are your numbers? Where's the evidence for that? They're half dedicated to harassing users and calling them cucks when other subreddits get banned for much less. When's a subreddit been banned for less than that? Never happened. Fat People Hate got banned. Coontown got banned, They weren't doing less than this, mate. It's simply inconsistent. Like, again, I don't mean to throw too much shade. This is how pathetic they are, though. Like, they go in, it's like, listen, mate, I'm not saying you're a cunt, right? But you are being a bit of a cunt. Sorry for calling you a cunt. You know what I mean? Like, which one is it, mate? He's so afraid. He's just so afraid, isn't he? He's so afraid, like, where he's like, I'm gonna bust the CEO out. This is the way. Oh shit! What if I lose? What if he takes my power away? You can see the turmoil. You can see the cogs turning on this absolute degenerate. Like, it's so funny. Oh yes, Spez, this is what you need to do, man. You need to do this. What I say, Spez. Oh, don't take away my mod. Don't take away my mods. Don't take away my mods. Sorry, Spez. Sorry. Anyway, proposed but magic database edit. Mano Slimmins is now top mod of the Donald. Again, give me more power for me. Me. Hi, I'm in the back of the class. It's Mano Slimmins. It's me. More power, please. Lose it. Also, yeah, the whole site is the Donald. No. It's actually a relatively small subreddit. Incredibly active, though. Always in the top 5 since the last 18 months. Again, another person says, top mod me to the Donald. I'll drop all the top mods and make Reddit great again. I can handle the harassment. And then, yeah, not saying the Donald is in the right by attacking Spez, but editing user comments is not okay. Yes, you her sicker. Well done. Am I the only one that's upset about that? And then Spez says, don't make me defend them. Don't make me defend the Donald. They've done nothing, but don't make me defend them. But most of what we see from them is being internally crass. I know they leak, but as you say, we need to be consistent. The politics mods have been communicating the Donald leaking to the community management team, who I have always just assumed is crippled on what they're allowed to do for us by a policy handed down for the year or whatever it's been now. So that's the politics moderators that ban you for posting anti-Hillary stories, that you bend the rules of the website to make it look like when you submit a thread, you've changed the title. It's editorialized. It's the exact same title that's on the website. And then someone resubmits it. Oh, it's already been submitted. Yeah, but you didn't allow that submission. La 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 la. Away they go, right? That moderation team isn't fit for purpose. They are deliberately bending the rules of the website to ensure that users don't have a good experience on the website. Why don't we penalize that? Nope. And then he goes, I don't think they view it as harassment. No, because maybe, just maybe, people who have jobs and leave the house are capable of being functional adults and don't have to view everything as harassment. Right, let's get on to this next one, because like I said, there's a lot of these. That's just the second one. I think there's like 5. Copy image address, and there we go. Okay, so this is the next one. The Donald has long since been promising they'll storm politics next. Never happened. I mean, you know, they've said that if they get banned and shut down, they'll move into the politics subreddit. They are a subreddit that's dedicated to supporting the next president of the United States. Maybe politics would be a good place for them if you wouldn't ban them all and suppress the things they wanted to talk about. The only reason the Donald exists is because politics could not be neutral. You created your own monsters and now you're crying about it. You are a moron. Quarantine. There is nothing they can do to our sub that they haven't already done. So what are you crying about then? Still there, innit? You still got power? You still able to ban anyone that you want? Who cares then? Well, you've literally invalidated every point that you've hysterically been gibbering about for the entirety of this fucking segment, you pleb. Spez, I think the solution is the same as it was with the fappening. Ban it, and then ban all its children. Fappening was dedicated to posting illegally obtained pictures of naked celebrities, tantamount to revenge porn. The Donald talks about Donald Trump. You know, didn't happen. Just prevent them from hitting all. It's already been done. There will be another. This is a Spez response. No, this is why Reddit needs to address these communities before they become problems, says the Donald. You know, like back when people were first remanding that they, that's pretty much demanding, first demanding they be banned, and they were 1/3 of the size they are now. So let's nip things in the bud. People shouldn't be allowed to talk about the future president of the United States unless it's Hillary Clinton. On a deeply personal and unprofessional level, I totally agree with what you did today, and I wish I could have done it myself. Look at this. Like, if you're going to fantasize, make it a good fantasy. Fantasize about something really worthwhile, you know what I mean? This person is fantasizing about editing comments. You are Meganum, I'm so sorry for you. Pity doesn't even begin. Pity doesn't even begin to express how I feel about you as a human being. It is unbelievably sad. It's just so deeply sad that this is what you consider a fantasy. Honestly, I don't know where you're headed in life after Reddit dies, because it will die. I don't know where you're going to end up. I don't know what you're going to do. But honestly, I hope your life is more fulfilling than it is now, really, because this is unreal. On a deeply personal and unprofessional level, I totally agree with what you did today, and I wish I could have done it myself back when it was me that they were harassing. Mind, I know I didn't get it 1/10 as bad as you and all that, but it was the site politics that you all, not sure who specifically, decided on what made it happen. Last time I'll tag you tonight, Spez. Turns out it isn't. But I've been with Reddit since April 16th, 2006, over 10 years. With the bullshit with the Donald, I've already reduced my time on Reddit. I'm thinking of leaving entirely. They've impacted my enjoyment on the site that much, and I'm being vocal about my thoughts about leaving. Imagine those that just said fuck it and never came back. Remember how we talked about this on the Randy Harper video? You know, people like to pretend that they are, going to boycott you because they super use your product all of the time. So they're going to boycott you. We're going to walk away from it. So it's a way to pressurize you into doing what they want you to do. It's a form of emotional blackmail in a way, but it's like almost like fiscal blackmail, All right, let's just assess this. You've been on the website for over 10 years. You've amassed the only real power you're ever going to have in your life. You are sat in a private Slack group talking to the CEO of the company and telling him about how all you want is power. You're begging to let him make you the top moderator of the Donald. You're begging to let him replace you for a day. You're not going to leave. You're not going to leave. You have nothing. You are nothing and you have nothing. You are not going to leave. Stop pretending. If you couldn't censor people on Reddit and cry about harassment, you would have nothing. That would be your life over. You would have to go out there, do something of meaning. You're not going to leave. Stop lying. What are you flexing for? Anyway, fallout from not acting, blah, blah, blah. On it goes. Spez, I get it, man. I just get it. We have a couple of things in the works to mitigate it. So now they're talking about mitigating the Donald. You can see, Manaslumin says the Donald isn't political speech anymore. Then our conspiracy is scientific analysis. I mean, it is. It's definitely political. Almost every discussion pertaining to Donald Trump is political. The left has politicized it, so it's political, right? And Spez says we have a couple of things in the work to mitigate it, but we really are looking for general solutions. So in other words, they are now secretly planning on further ways to censor the Donald. He is saying it. At no point, by the way, has he said, look, guys, I know you're all emotional, but what I did today is a horrible example. You shouldn't abuse your powers on this website. This is literally what he should be saying to this group. You shouldn't abuse your powers on the website. And I've done that, and it makes Reddit a worse place. And listen, if we learn anything from this experience, it should be that actually we should be there for the users. We should be allowing the users to have a better experience on a website. Has he said that? No. What he's saying is we are gonna get the Donald eventually. We just don't know how. We're looking at different ways. So on it goes. He alludes to we're going to get better relevance algorithms. We're going to normalize votes, better sorting to prioritize actual engagement. So obviously what this means is what we determine to be actual engagement. This is the, again, allegation that the Donald has been botting. I've never seen any compelling evidence that they've done it. It's possible. I won't rule that out. But again, actual engagement. So they're going to fuck with all the algorithms basically, so the Donald cannot, get front page posts or be treated the same as any other subreddit. Spez, you have things to mitigate it? I'm sorry. This is Manaslumin again, of course. Manaslumin, who's definitely going to leave. I'm sorry, but the damage has been done. They're already taking their toxic bullshit into other subs. It's no longer just the Donald that deals with them. They've infested the rest of Reddit. The Donald's rise may have increased new registrations, but increased registrations of users that don't give a fuck about your platform. Who gives a fuck about Reddit's platform in shit Reddit says, in subreddit that is designed to mocking Reddit and has actively tried to hurt Reddit financially for not complying to their demands? Don't know, but why let logic get in the way? Let's not let logic shut it down. Too much logic. All the foxes, I hate to be giving you shit right about now, but a lot of this seems to come from inconsistencies of how things are enforced. He just keeps repeating this stuff. Seriously, though. On it goes. Let's just scroll down. I mean, this is, again, just a general debate. No hot quotes in this one. And then he says here, when it's ruining user experiences in Skyrim because a plot point resembles a talking point of Trump and the Trumpites think it's an excuse to harass people, we have a site-wide problem. And, I don't know the specific thread they're referring to there, but certainly I think there was an issue where a Skyrim mod creator had done one of the most pathetic protests I'd ever seen, basically banning a mod until after the election, and enforce diversity in certain areas of Skyrim and this kind of stuff. So I wonder if it's anything to do with that, which was one of the most pathetic political protests I've ever seen. Right then, let's just get this next post. Scroll down. Okay. Yeah, we're getting to the end. Gets good. Trust me. If you thought it's been good so far, it does get better. Spez. Also, you make it seem like I don't care about figuring out the Donald. Well, what's there to figure out? They're a subreddit. If users break the rules, ban the users. Pretty simple. There's no proof that they mobilize. There's no proof, that they're doing anything en masse. You managed to pull a move that actually unified us with them against this mistake. And this is, again, the idea homosexuality was saying that, us moderators, we disagree with everything. He said this earlier. We disagree with everything. We don't agree on anything. Yeah, you do. You agree on fucking tons of stuff. That's the whole reason you all get together and you all behave the same way. Spez goes on to say, but banning it would create a mess, and we can fix this in a more sustainable way. In other words, a secret, clandestine way. Spez, you guys are treating this like a fucking calculus problem. This is all the fucks again. Oh, sorry, I need to do his voice, don't I? You guys are treating this like a fucking calculus problem. This is harassment, not Calc 4. Yep. Do you do maths, do you, mate? Are you good with numbers? I'm surprised. You can stop mass harassment in a more sustainable way. Mass harassment, posting things you don't like. Man of Slimming. At this point, there's no figuring it out. The only thing that'll appease those that are tired of this shit is to ban it. Like any other subreddit that did half the bullshit they did. So now we get to a literal point where this moderator is basically giving an order to the CEO of Reddit. Right? Surely at this point, he's going to say, I'm not taking this. I'm not going to take this. You've gone too far. You have overstepped your boundaries. I'm not beholden to you. I run this. Nope. Just takes it because he has to. Because without the volunteer fucking plebs, they've got nothing. Reddit has nothing. And still, they don't realize you need to get rid of the moderators. You refuse to ban or quarantine the sub and then let the site know you've been editing their comments. Yes, of course, he said this in regard to the man summon thing. I'm not, and then all the fucks again. I'm not talking about stupid front page circle jerking. Please enlighten me. How can I stop getting dead cat gifs? Oh no. I don't know. Ever thought about, maybe fucking just reporting the people who send them to you, and if you get them a lot, fuck it. You must have done something. It's a dead cat gif. Yeah, it's not cool. It's not cool, but, I don't get sent those. I wonder, what the fuck's going on? From the Donald users. Ridiculous, isn't it? I've been crying to the community management team while the Donald has ruined my subreddit that I love and have spent 10 to 20 hours a week on for 3 years. Wow. Just wow. So bad, isn't it? The fact, no wonder you're fantasizing about editing comments. Fucking hell. 10 to 20 hours on moderation of a subreddit. You ever thought about creating something? You ever thought about actually going out there and making something other people can enjoy? You ever thought about that? You ever thought about writing something, painting something, building something, recording something, singing something? You ever thought about that? You ever thought about actually making something with that time? No, because you can't. You got nothing. You are a vacuum. And yet, you feel compelled to censor other people en masse. This is all you have is the echo chamber, the delight of the echo chamber. My team and made me constantly worried about the next bad thing that will happen. And there you go. Spez, a little bit of pushback. I'm not going to have this conversation when you're angry, but I'm happy to talk about it some other time. How about, Spez, you grow a fucking sack and just say, listen, you fucking little mutt, shut the fuck up. I'm running this company. I'm in here as a courtesy, by the way. Yeah, obviously, we all know he's gone in there to fucking high-five all these fucking losers, but, I don't have to talk to you at all. But, again, beholden to the fucking moderators. What mess could it create, as in banning the Donald, what mess could it create that will be worse than the entire future of their remaining harassment, doxing, and general ruination of everyone's user experience here? That's an actual question I'd love to answer, love an answer to. I know it might seem facetious. Sorry. Well, here's the thing. Again, we've allowed SRS to flourish and do all the things they've done. What's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. I'll support a ban of the Donald if you are going to enforce that ban on all of the subreddits that have engaged in that activity, provably so. And if you can prove that the Donald have done it, and you can prove that SRS have done it, which we can, let's ban them all then. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Seems fair to me. Do not just casually enforce it on one side of the equation and not the other, because that makes you a piece of shit. And you can see people have been trying to talk to admins for years and getting nowhere. No, I mean, you sit on Google Hangouts with them, you're in a Slack with them, you have daily interactions with them, you created them to give you more, you created a situation where they had to give you more powers by blacking out the website. Yeah, I mean, what have you got to do to just get in touch with these admins? Am I right? I mean, shit, you sat here literally wrecking the CEO of the company, but admins don't listen to us. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're right. Then they say, schedule a date for this conversation. If you're going to talk to us, we want to know why and where and when and what it's going to be about. We want times, we want dates, we want a commitment from you, Mr. CEO. Spez, how's this for an idea? Achievement Unlocked does calls with mod teams all the time. Why not have a call between Philippe, yourself, and one mod from each community each community interested in participating? So now, I'm not only going to dictate that we must have a meeting, I'm going to tell you the format of the meeting and who's going to be there and what it's going to be about. And then again, keep in mind, they've just said, this staff member has calls with us all the time, calls with moderators all the time. Meanwhile, you got moderators going, what are we going to do to just get through to the staff? Which one is it, guys? That's how fucked you are. That's your level of cognitive dissonance in your brain. Down it goes. I'm always going to be a little angry, to be honest. Kind and willing to discuss, but angry. Aren't you a fucking hero, Meganum? Aren't you just a legend? Spez, I think we've been doing that for the last couple of months, actually, as in having these regular meetings. And it's like, every single mod in here has been begging for action. It's a fucking joke, Spez. Spez, you're joking, surely. Yeah, but I mean you getting in on the calls. And now Manaslimin is demanding Spez has to utilize his time placating these childish fucking morons. And Spez's like, yeah, the community dialogue stuff, we're doing it. Right? And then he talks about how they've got a subreddit dedicated where they talk and all the fucks. That subreddit is a joke. It's a joke. No, really. Self-contained conversation, sub about nothing. And then Spez agrees. So they've actually demanded, saying, we want to speak to you in a group in real time with your actual voice. And Spez agrees to this. You must have a call with us, Spez. You must. You must talk to us with your actual voice, not just in Slack. I want you on the phone. I want to hear your voice. I want to know right now. I want to talk to you right now, Spez, CEO of the company that I'm a volunteer worker for. Sure, we can do that sometime. What a fucking... this is... Oh, God, my ulcer. Oh, it's so pathetic. It just makes me sick. It's so pathetic. It just makes me sick. He's bowing down to these demands. Do you understand now when I say mods are the problem? Are you seeing it now? Do you understand now how you must create a system, Reddit, if you want to survive when you get rid of these people? You've got volunteer workers basically bullying your CEO into a conference call. What is going on? What is going on? These are replaceable. These are just nobodies. You could give 1 million users that fucking role, and it would be exactly the same. Ugh. See, and there's the reference. Google Hangouts were the same, so we know they've used Google Hangouts. Anyway, and those are pretty pointless. I mean, yeah, you're just the staff. And Spez says, look, I spend almost no time in Slack, even the work Slack, unfortunately. Like, I'm a busy guy. I'm a CEO of a company. But the reality is we spend a lot of time working on these issues, but it's not as simple as banning everything. Well done, Spez. First sensible thing you've said. Shame it's going to be too late because you must be fired or you must resign. Your thing. And then all the foxes. So what is the solution? How will it work? What's the plan? How can we see the benefits, etc.? That's what we don't get to hear about. I'm now going to demand what you tell me. Manaslimin, as someone who bans a lot of spammers each day, it may not fix the underlying issue, but holy shit, does it feel good? Obviously, again, referring to banning people. So, again, Manaslimin, banning people feels good. What? Fucking jerk off or something. Fucking come on. Tell you what, I will find a time next week to chat with you all. Then Handicap Reader just added in, get rid of all the mods of the Donald, the mods that have cooperated and done everything. Get rid of the mods. You don't have to ban the sub, and then just put someone responsible in the helm. So just remove moderators when you won't do it for anything else. Spez, why do you think the default mods are overwhelmingly in favour of dealing with the Donald? We agree on almost nothing, except all of our fucking politics. We agree on almost nothing besides current mod mail being a disaster. If all of the users who actually run your site tell you something is a problem, why don't you listen? Why don't you listen to us, CEO? All the foxes. I like talking. Yeah. Now's not a good time. Things are a little spicy. They're a little spicy. I've completely violated users' privacy and abused my power, and and made us actionable to a lawsuit. It's so spicy. What the fuck are you talking about? Handle yourself professionally, you know what I mean? So after the holiday, we can chat. Please understand I agree with the problem, but not necessarily the solution. But we all want a solution. So there you have it. There's more. You can go out and find this. I retweeted it, but it's on Mike Cernovich's Twitter. For those who didn't want to do it. So, look, basically what we've got here is we've got a situation where we have a Reddit moderator breaking all of these rules, breaking user privacy, fucking with your accounts, editing things you say, misrepresenting and impersonating you. And his response to this is to basically retreat into an echo chamber of volunteer losers, high-five each other, talk about how great it is, and then those volunteer users basically try and use the situation to pressure him even further into giving in to their demands, which is to ban a subreddit dedicated to the discussion of the policies and practices and behavior of this future president of the United States and his supporters. That's it. I mean, think about that. Just assess all of that. And the CEO is going to give it to them. He's going to bow down. He's going to bow down. And he's going to give it to them. They're going to get what they want. And what they want is the Donald to be banned, quarantined, or further sanctioned in some way. And they want the moderators to be punished based on the actions of individuals that don't represent the moderators. It's ridiculous. So here's what I'm going to do, because I saw a lot of posts from the Donald, and I'm going to give them some advice, because look, I've had a fun time reading some threads in the Donald. I think it's a pretty good subreddit. I don't see it engaging in any harassment. I've never seen it engaging in any harassment. If it did, I would condemn it. But keep in mind, I'm very liberal with what determines harassment. I'm overweight myself, and I supported Fat People Hate being a subreddit. And I definitely think that shouldn't have been banned. I definitely think it wasn't harassing people. I think posting a photo of the Imager staff and saying the reason they're against us and won't let us house our images is is because they're fat, and showing pictures of them and posting even their dog is overweight. I don't think that's a reason to get a subreddit shut down. I certainly don't think it's harassment. Harassment is sustained. It's where you live. It spills over into your real life. It's not just on the internet where you talk about an anonymous, thing. So it's got to be sustained. One photo, look at this fat fucker. That can happen. I mean, I get it a lot. Everyone calls me a fat piece of shit. I get non-stop jokes about my weight all of the time. Whatever. Fat People Hate should be allowed to exist. People should be allowed to say that. Being overweight isn't a good thing. Everybody who is should do something about it. Fat People Hate actually, it wasn't that bad in my opinion, but it got removed, it got banned, and we all know how that ended up. So anyway, so I'm going to give you some advice, folks at the Donald, and hopefully this gets to you. So I've seen a lot of threads from you guys, and you're all saying we're going to stay and we're going to fight, and we're going to stay and we're going to fight, and if they ban us, we'll make another subreddit and we'll call it something else, but we will all stay here because we need to be where the liberals live. We need to be here to break up the echo chamber. Guys, listen, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. So you are one of the most active subreddits on Reddit, right? They say it's because you're bots. I don't think it is. I think people are genuinely active on that subreddit because it's brought together certain elements of the internet, and a lot of people will browse it anonymously without subscribing to it for obvious reasons because of all the hate we see aimed at Donald Trump supporters. So you guys have got to understand that when what you're doing is you are driving traffic to their platform, and those traffic numbers go out to sponsors, go out to investors. The traffic is the only thing Reddit has. It's outdated tech. The staff are incompetent. The moderators are a joke. There's only two ways they make money. One, they say, look how big we are. You want to be on Reddit, advertise with us, even though their level of engagement on their advertisements is notoriously poor. Two, they also say, look, we've got all these users browsing our website. We can do shit with their private data, and we'll find a way to do it. We'll frame it in a way they don't mind, and we'll just change it without declaring it like they've done many times over. You are becoming part of the deck, the discussion when Reddit want to get money. You're helping them get money. And what you should do is you should move to another platform and be a kingmaker over there. By a kingmaker, I mean the influx of the 300,000 subs plus all of the casuals that use that subreddit going to another platform could actually make that platform a legitimate Reddit killer. Because the only reason other sites never took off is because either A, it's the same old rehash shit like Vote, or B, they don't have the tech to deal with the influx of the traffic, also like Vote. But there's other ones out there that have tried, and it doesn't work. Now, let's get into it. There are platforms out there that want your business, that want your traffic, and you're an incredibly valuable commodity to them. And you should starve Reddit out. If you are in Kotaku in Action, starve Reddit out. If you are in the Donald, starve them out. Move. Now is the time to really hit them where it hurts, to have an exodus, to show the traffic is reducing, to show that you will not tolerate CEOs of tech companies abusing your privacy, abusing your data. So here's what I suggest you do. You find a platform you like. I'm going to recommend one. I'm already registered over there, although I haven't had a lot of time to use it, but I think I'm going to be publishing some political writings up there. And I'm going to just bring it up on screen just as a visual aid, so you don't have to look at my haggard face. Here it is, minds.com. And basically, here it is, boom, minds.com. And this is a website that's basically social networks. It's interlinked social networks. And you create your own social network, and you can post videos on it and host blogs on it, and you can have comments on it, and you can embed everything. And it's really cool. And what's really good is, as well, Minds have publicly come out and said, we are absolutely dedicated to the free speech principle. Not like any of these other people. Not like, Candid, who are lying and are just using you to get data for an algorithm that's going to be designed for censorship. Not Candid. It's not like that. It's not like all these other platforms that talk a good game on free speech. But, this website already has a lot of the members of the skeptic community over there. Sargon of Akkad is over there. He regularly posts. You can see a few other people, but obviously this is what it looks like. Paul Joseph Watson is over there as well. This is going to be a real potential alternative, I think, to a lot of the shit that's going on. Just so you guys know, obviously I've never shilled for anybody. I have no relationship to this website other than I think it's got potential. I stumbled across it by watching, I think it's Computing Forever's videos. I think he may have some relationship or stock or something involved with it, but I can't be too sure. But he certainly has worked with them in helping moving it. I don't know if he has any financials incentives. I think Computing Forever would declare it. But you can see here, you can be anonymous. They encrypt all sensitive data. They've got viral reach. There's a video by Computing Forever where he shows actually you get a surprisingly high level of engagement. There's transparency. It's completely free. It's open source. They have code and policies available to everybody. And eventually it's going to have monetization. So, I want you guys to seriously think about it if you're over at the Donald. I want you to think about what you can do to really hit Reddit where it hurts. And this is how you hurt them. You build up another website that's going to replace them. It's the only way you hurt them. Right now, they're sat in a little echo chamber thinking it's all going to be okay. We're going to be big and it's going to last forever. Well, of course, history tells us it won't last forever. So let's go to another platform. And let's fuck Reddit once and for all. Because at this point, it's not worth saving. You thought, I talked about this in 2015. You can go find a video before Ellen Powell even got fired. And I told everybody this is the kind of shit that was going to go on. And people were just like, oh, yeah, Richard Lewis, you hate Reddit, you're paranoid, blah, blah, blah. So, do it. Go to minds.com, or if somebody finds a better alternative, a cool alternative like that, which actually has some really good features, you can use points to trade and boost other people's posts. So it's kind of like an inverse dig. You don't boost your own, you boost other people's, and they can reciprocate and stuff. So it's interesting. And, I imagine that'll get refined over time to stop any, collusion and stuff, pushing shit to the front page. But anyway, go to another website. Do it. They've even said there's plans over at Minds.com to make it your own social network. So you can have users sign up to your own kind of miniature website. And you can have, things like Reddit, like the equivalent of upvotes and stuff. You will assign all of that in your space. It looks really interesting. So definitely check it out. I'm going to start plugging this a little bit more. I'm going to have a closer look at the features. I'm going to start using some stuff over there, and we'll see. We'll see how good it is. But honestly, I think Minds.com has got real potential, and certainly I urge you guys at the Donald to consider it as a home for discussing the future president of the United States over that piece of shit website, Reddit. So, one final story to wrap us up with, because I like to end on a fun note, and that is what we will do. So, racism. It's now possible to be racist if you use words that even vaguely look like racist words. So let's have a look. Boom! Uh-oh. No. What's going on? Why aren't you working? Please. Please work. Oh, God. My archives. My precious archives. Right, let's just move to here. Let's see if it works here. Right, there we go. Boom. So, this is Microsoft have had to issue an apology because of a perceived racial slur. This was in Dead Rising 4. They sent out a marketing email basically to say that the holidays are here. Happy Thanksgiving. All we want for the holidays is some zombies and stuff. And it shows, obviously, the main character of Dead Rising who has been changed into an unrecognizable, kind of hybrid of the various iterations across the games. They had a picture of him hugging two zombies in hats, and that's what he kind of does. So what you have here is they sent this email out, and the title of the email was a zombie noise. Yeah. See there, right? Can you see that? Yeah. That's what a zombie says, right? Now, people got upset because apparently that word sounds a bit like the N-word. Yeah, suppose, maybe. Not really feeling it myself. And this upset some people. So people responded to it and basically complained en masse. And Microsoft, instead of just saying this is clearly not a racist word, this is clearly not a racist word. It's not the Boondocks, is it? It's not the Boondocks. What is that, right? Like, it is not racist. That is not racist. It is the sound of a zombie. Yeah, I'm doing it like, yeah. That's what it's saying. That's how a zombie sounds. Microsoft have said they're going to do better next time. And there's the email there. You can see it was the subject. And, yep. Today we sent a Dead Rising 4 email where a zombie roar was interpreted by many as a racial slur. We apologize and promise to do better next time. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, does anyone think that's racist? Honestly, does anyone think that is a racist word? Because it contains some of the letters in a racist word. That's effectively what we're saying. That because some of the letters are the same as a well-known racial epithet, it's racist. I mean, does anybody believe that? Didn't think so. So, that's the world we live in. You can be racist without being racist, and you must apologize for not being racist when someone says you are racist, otherwise then you become racist. That's the logic. And I want you to think about that, because that's where we're all headed. People got to stand up. Disappointed Microsoft didn't have the balls to tell those, what's the word for them? Kooks. Not cooks, kooks. The kooky cranks that look out for this shit and complain about this shit, who don't consume, they don't buy things, they don't do anything. We endorse them, we give them license every time we apologize and encourage them, and it's really fucking sad. So, pretty ridiculous. Right, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I think that's enough of the Richard Lewis Show. You can all go back to your fucking Thanksgiving turkeys or whatever it is you are doing. I'm not going to fuck up the ending this time. As always, I say thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for the constant support of my work. Hopefully this has been enlightening and showing you that the shit that's going on. Certainly make sure someone on the Donald gets to know about this, because I really want Reddit to start feeling the burn about the bullshit they've been pulling. I make no bones about it. Maybe I am biased, but honestly, I think the way they've conducted themselves is absolutely deplorable. I think you guys can appreciate that. Look, a happy Thanksgiving to all of you. If you're an American, you're celebrating Thanksgiving and you took a break today to tune in, I really appreciate it. Certainly enjoy the time with your family, enjoy the time with your friends, enjoy the holidays. That's what they're for. And no doubt I will see you next time, quite possibly tomorrow, workload depending. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to tune out, maybe back a little bit later, depending on if I shift my work, maybe stream some games or something. And if you're watching this on the VOD, obviously, thanks a lot for tuning into the YouTube channel. Obligatory mention, make sure you are subscribed, because YouTube keeps taking my subscribers away without them knowing. And apparently, it's a site-wide problem, but I like to be paranoid, because that keeps me healthy and alert. Anyway, there we go. It's all been fun. Much love to you all, and I will see you next time.